The following is a live presentation of CBC Sports. The news is good in the Canadian Football League tonight. They're expecting a crowd in excess of 50,000 at BC Place to watch two good football teams. The Lions are 2-1 and looking for a share of first in the West. The Toronto Argonauts are hoping to remain unbeaten. BC versus Toronto in Week 4 of the CFL on CBC. There is some history in this matchup. In the early 80s, Bob Obilovich led the Toronto Argonauts to a Grey Cup victory at BC Place. 8 years later, Obilovich has taken up permanent residence in Vancouver. He runs the Lions now, and with the benefit of a talented offense built around an outstanding quarterback. Doug Flutie in most quarterbacking categories. Matt Clark is one of the CFL's top receivers. And John Volpe has been a rookie running back sensation. When Obilovich was coaching Toronto, Adam Rita coordinated the BC offense. Well enough, the Lions won the Grey Cup in '85. Now Rita is head man in Toronto, and he has no end of offensive weapons at his disposal. Pinball Clemens has overshadowed the Rocket, and Ricky Foggy has filled in adequately for injured quarterback Matt Dunnigan. Rita also has a swarming defense led by an outstanding linebacking core. The question is, can it shut down the BC Lions tonight? They say things are different out here on the West Coast, but one thing is the same. The fans will show up if they think they're going to get their money's worth, and there's nothing to suggest they won't in a game involving the Pinball, the Rocket, and the top-ranked quarterback in all the land. Welcome to BC Place, everybody. We won't know the actual crowd count until halftime, but we already know that advanced sales of 50,000 have guaranteed the largest crowd for any CFL stadium this season. We'll also know by halftime if the Argo defense is in for another big night. And to talk some more about that, let's hear from Don Whitman and Joe Gillette.
Thanks, Scott. Hi, everybody. Joe, last year when they were setting the record for scoring points, the Argos had a slogan, shoot the lights out. This year they're not scoring nearly as many points, but more importantly, neither is the opposition.
Well, that's offense sells tickets, and we're seeing that tonight, but defense wins football games. The Argos have a defense.
And that defense is anchored by their linebackers, Don Moan, Darryl Ford, and Chris Gaines. Ford, last week, was named the outstanding defensive player in the CFL for his effort against Winnipeg.
But Darryl Ford is some kind of football player. He rushes the passer, drops back on pass defense, and he pursues the ball really well.
The trio of linebackers will be tested tonight because they're facing the leading quarterback in the CFL in Doug Flutie.
Flutie is one of those kinds of football players that you can't ever really stop, but you hope to contain him. You hope that maybe you'll get a couple pickoffs, and then you got a chance to win.
If Flutie maintains his pace of the first 3 through 18 games, he'll break Warren Moon's single-season passing record in the CFL. Scott?
Don, whatever happens in this game tonight, Doug Flutie already has them talking football out here on the West Coast, and we'll spend some time with him away from the ballpark on Live at the Half. We'll also go coast to coast to advance as best we can the stories in Week 4 of the CFL. You're watching the CFL on CBC, live from Vancouver.
The CFL on CBC. Brought to you by Sport OV, real life beer. By GMC Truck. And by 7-Up. It's cool to be clear.
A beautiful night in Vancouver and a large crowd at the Dome to watch the #1 team in the East, the Toronto Argonauts, go against the BC Lions, a team that hopes to improve its record to 3-1 and hand the Argos their first loss of the season.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight it is our pleasure to welcome international Records recording artists Amy, Sylvana, and Camille. Please rise and join in the singing of O Canada with Vancouver's own West End Girls.
It's not on. Hello? Hello? Okay. 1, 2, 3. Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Well, John Candy, you see in the center of your screen, as he has been at the Sky Dome in Toronto in the 2 previous Argo home games, and as he was in the opener in Ottawa, here at the Dome in Vancouver, busy signing autographs. Bob Obilovich, the former head coach of the Toronto Argonauts, now in his first full term as head coach of the BC Lions, and he has this team playing exciting football, a record 2-1. They lost their opener by 5 points to Calgary, bounced back for an overtime win against Winnipeg, and a 1-point triumph last week against Edmonton. The Argos receive. It will be Clemens on the kickoff return. Clemens trying to maintain his balance, but over on the far side, Mayo, the newest addition to the BC Lions, was in there to make the tackle. Ricky Foggy, the starting quarterback, again tonight.
I talked to Ricky Foggy before the game, and I asked him how's his shoulder. He said, what shoulder? Last week he knows he didn't play well. This week he knows he has to play well, and I expect that he'll do that.
Ricky Foggy, prior to the game last week against Winnipeg, did not practice in the 2 days leading up to the game because of problems with his rotator cuff, an injury sustained the week previous against Hamilton. 1st and 10, the ball is at the 35. Foggy will run it and will pick up about 8 yards.
Well, Foggy will do that. He'll stop, take off, and run with the football. If you think you're going to jam the receivers, you're going to have a problem tackling Ricky Foggy. The official was the only guy that got him that time.
O.J. Briggins came in to make the stop. The official involved was the umpire, Ken Pico. It's 2nd and 2, Toronto. Kelly, the ball carrier, very close to a first down.
Toronto's got a solid offensive line unit, and what they want to do is just push the pile back, and they did that pretty well in that play.
Adam Rita, the Toronto coach, in talking about his team and the offensive line of the BC Lions, when someone asked if BC had the #1 offensive line in the league, he said, no, I think they're #2.
Well, he's proud of his offensive line, and he should be.
Ball at the 46, 1st and 10. Kelly at the line of scrimmage, stopped by Derek McCready with help from Stuart Hill.
Big play for the defense. They wanted to be able to control Toronto by getting them into long yardage situations. 2nd and long is what they're after. That's what they've got Toronto. So Foggy knows he's got to either go to Clements or Smith on these 2nd and long situations. He's going to get a lot of jam on the outside receivers.
Raghib Ismail and Trumaine Johnson are the 2 wideouts. Johnson in the lineup replacing the injured Jeff Boyd. He was hurt last week against Winnipeg. Darryl Smith makes the catch at the 35.
Good solid protection up front and a nice play by Ricky Foggy finding the open seam. They caught the defense in a roll coverage. Darrell Smith went up and brought the ball down. Stu Hill's going to have to get a lot of pressure on the quarterback. And of course, the corners, Norm Jefferson and Chris Major on the outside, are going to be tested with the Rocket out there on one side and sometimes in the backfield as well.
Pass to Smith, producing a pickup of 27 yards. It's 1st and 10 Toronto. They are at the BC 36. Foggy for Smith again on the sidelines. He makes the catch in front of Petway for another 1st down Toronto.
Well, Foggy's on rhythm now. He's running a smash pattern, which means that Obilovich is worried about his secondary having to cover. He wants to cover one-on-one on Smith, but Smith's a tough football player. It's hard to cover him one-on-one. He makes the break out away from the receiver, out jumps, makes the catch.
Consecutive passes to Darrell Smith for 27 yards and 23 yards, and the Argos are 1st and 10 at the 13 of the BC Lions. This time Ismail goes wide right. Oh, now he comes back and lines up in the backfield. There's the toss to the Rocket. CFL touchdown. Raghib Ismail scoring his 1st touchdown from 13 yards out. He had started to line up wide to the right, came back as the lone setback, and took the toss and beat the defenders to the corner.
What a fine football player. Adam Rita told us yesterday that what he wanted to do was to run the Joker formation, and that's not a joke. Rocket just took the football. You can see a spurt of speed here, right to the corner. He went right to the flag. What a smooth, fast athlete. Too late for Belanger to come over.
Convert attempt is mishandled. Almazzati trying to lob it into the end zone.
There you're seeing a result that misconvert, a result of Matt Dunnigan not being in the lineup. He's been their regular holder. Looks like a penalty flag down. Preliminary indication against the BC Lions.
Offside, BC number 13, convert repeated.
Ken Lazaruk is the referee tonight. So with the penalty against the BC Lions, the Argos will get another opportunity to convert the Rockets' 1st CFL touchdown, a 13-yard run.
And I'll tell you one thing, Bob Obilovich will let some people know about that offsides. He's going to search and find out which guy was offside, and he's going to let him know about it, because that's not what Obilovich likes. Don't give him another chance.
Chris Major was the player who was offside. And on the second opportunity, Lance Chomick fires it through, and it's 7-0. Well, it took 3 games for the Rocket to get his 1st CFL touchdown, but he provided some of the excitement that fans in Toronto have been looking for.
Well, it's hard to make an accelerated move when you're cutting at an angle like that, but you can see the speed of Rocket. And we heard last week, first step off the ball, first step off the line. We can't believe the guy can move like that, and you just saw the example of it tonight. Adam Reed is saying, look, we've got the run, now we got to pass off of that Joker formation, so we're going to see more of that before the night's up.
Well, the Rocket moved into fullback. He started to line up wide right, came into the fullback spot, and they ran the Rocket to the strong side, and the result was a 13-yard touchdown. Lorenzo Graham on the kickoff return for BC. He's out to the 43. Keith Kelly is there to make the tackle. It's 1st and 10, BC. A 28-yard run back by Lorenzo Graham. And here's the league's top quarterback, Doug Flutie.
Doug Flutie's been having a great season, and as you alluded to at the beginning of the show, he has a chance to break all of those records that Warren Moon set, and I know the people in New England are happy about the way Doug Flutie's playing right now.
Warren Moon at 5,640 yards in 1983. John Volpe, the number 4 rusher in the CFL, picks up a couple of yards. Don Wilson came up to make the tackle. He's been quite a story. John Volpe out of Stanford University.
Well, he came into training camp and never looked back. He took over and became the starting running back. What a good football player he is. Never get a solid tackle on Volpe.
2nd and 8. Flutie to the sidelines for Etheridge. And Etheridge is going to be stopped short of a first down by Don Moan. Toronto has the Rocket. BC has the Missile. That's the nickname for Ray Etheridge, whose claim to fame is that he beat the Rocket in a 100-meter sprint when they were in high school.
But what grade was the Rocket in? He might have been in grade school. But the Missile caught a nice pass on that play. They had a throwback situation, and they caught good pickup on the blitz.
The difference between the Missile and the Rocket, about $17.85 million.
They play for the fun of it now.
Pinball Clemens on this punt return. As Adam Rita said, he can make you miss in a phone booth. And he is going all the way. The Rocket escorting Mike Pinball Clemens 94 yards into the end zone for Toronto's 2nd touchdown of the game.
Well, Pinball Clemens set up just about everything that you saw on the field. He went from the left side to the right side, back to the left side again, and there was some tremendous blocks set up along the way. Great peel back blocks, and Pinball used them to his advantage. But
Mike Clemens last year led the CFL, established a record with 3,300 yards. Coming into this game, Clemens had 464 yards with 94. He now moves up to 558.
this is exactly what the coach doesn't want to see. 2-touchdown lead this early.
Well, that 94-yard run is just one example of why this player, Mike Pinball Clemens, was the outstanding performer in the CFL last year. He's got some great moves, Joe. He doesn't have the flat-out speed of the Rocket, but he is the shiftier of the two, I would suggest.
He's got the ideal changeup. What he does is he changes direction so quickly and without losing any speed. He got tremendous stop-start ability. And you can see that he's picking up blockers as he goes by, but he makes a lot of people miss, about 6 of them on his own, and he got 6 good blocks.
So 5 minutes into this football game, the Toronto Argonauts have a 14-0 lead. The BC Lions in a hole. Etheridge is going to let it bounce out of bounds at the 14-yard line. And I'm quite sure that the Lions will ask the Argos to kick off again. Last year, Toronto really feasted on the BC Lions. On September 1st, 68-43 was the score. A league record 111 points in that game. 5 days later, here at the Dome, 49-19, the Argos over the BC Lions. Of course, Bob Obilovich was not the coach of the team then.
Well, you know, Obi right now is thinking that he'd like to get something established with his offense. He's got to get back into the ball game, and to let a punt return go that far for a touchdown was just reminiscent of what happened last week when the Gizmo went back for a punt return almost equal distance. So he's not happy. Obi's a special teams coach. He's not happy with his special teams right now.
Lance Chomick kicking off to Lorenzo Graham. Brings the ball back to the 44-yard line. So again, the BC Lions have good field position.
Doug Flutie is not without some weapons. We talked about Volpe at the top, and Volpe's one fine football player. So he's got that ability to keep the defense honest. And then, of course, he's got the missile in Raymond Etheridge outside.
1st and 10. The ball is at the 44. The difference between Flutie and, say, a Tracy Ham is that Tracy Ham will go to the outside. Flutie does a lot of his scrambling between the tackles. Volpe gets across the 50 to the 51. Don Moan was there to make the tackle. Volpe's father made the trip to Vancouver from his home in Arizona to watch this game.
What Toronto is hoping to do is to keep out of these situations, 2nd down and 3 yards to go. But Brian Warren has got to give some pass rush ability, and then Carl Brazeley and Don Wilson, the inside halfbacks, have to do some run support on Volpe to keep his yardage down.
2nd and 3. Flutie to Etheridge, and this time Etheridge will get the first down. Don Wilson was there to make the tackle. Well, Bruce McNall flew up from his home in Los Angeles just before game time, and he has to be pleased with the way his Toronto Argonauts have started their 4th game of the season. A quick 14-0 lead, and he'll be joining Scott Oak.
He likes
on
the
Live at the Half.
He certainly likes what he's seen so far.
And this is what Flutie does so well. If he gets into trouble, he runs, but usually he picks up a little more yardage. Darryl Ford came up very quickly.
Darryl Ford refused to be faked out of the play. What he wanted to do, he wanted to cut back to the inside, but they wouldn't let him do it, and the Blues brothers are happy about that. You know, in Toronto they had the Blues brothers. Here they got a whole bunch of Blues brothers.
I don't think they're the same group that entertained us at the Skydome a couple of weeks ago.
Well,
Ed Barry is the injured Toronto player.
The Blues brothers usually only make appearances at major events like playoffs, so it's quite an event here tonight to see the Blues brothers dressed out in only what their 3rd home stand.
Ed Barry out of Utah State, signing with the Argos as a free agent in September of 1988.
One of the things that Obilovich talked about yesterday was he didn't want to see Flutie do so much passing on 2nd down and 3 yards, and that's exactly what we saw. It was effective. They made the first down, but I got to think that Obi wasn't real happy about not having to be able to run the ball on 2nd down and 3 yards to go.
Now let's go down to field level, and here's Scott.
All right, Don, the owner of the BC Lions may be the only one who can compete for headlines with the Argonaut entourage. Yesterday, Murray Pezim presented Argo co-owner John Candy with a hat that says, "Don't mess with the Pez," and a few minutes before the game, Pezim took over center field. He arrived in style in roles once owned by John Lennon. With him was Argo owner Bruce McNall, and the Pez presented his fellow CFL governor with a poster-sized carving of the Rocket. He said it's insured for $1 million, but admitted to me it cost him $3,200. There's the Pez watching the game tonight. By the way, the plaque on that carving said, to a great promoter from the world's greatest, and Bruce McNall said that he bought it graciously. Don?
And for all you football fans in the province of British Columbia who are watching the game tonight on CBC television, our thanks go out to Murray Pezim and the BC Lions, who just moments before kickoff decided to lift the blackout here on the West Coast. Penalty flags, movement at the line of scrimmage, and Flutie fires complete to Etheridge, and Etheridge is brought down at the 32 with a BC first down.
Flutie got them moving with that voice inflection of his, and he stutter counted, hut, 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 and they've jumped off sides, and he's got the best of both worlds now. He can either take the play or the penalty.
Would you do that again?
Hut, hut, hut. It works for the
Both teams were offside.
You know, we're seeing a lot of that this year. What they're doing is calling the quarterback for making them jump off sides, and I don't know if that's the interpretation.
So that will negate the completion. Flutie to Etheridge. It will be 2nd and 6. The ball comes back to the 47-yard line. 14-0, the Argos lead. 7:41 is the time remaining in this opening quarter. Flutie finds Jake Christensen open at the 31. Donovan Wright, who comes into the ball game as an injury replacement for Ed Barry, made the tackle.
So here you see why Flutie is leading the CFL in passing. He avoids the rush, he slides to the outside, and he finds Christensen coming back inside of Chris Gaines, and it's a nice pickup.
Christensen had been hurt since training camp. Played his first game last week against Edmonton, made a significant contribution, and has done so again tonight. Volpe carries inside the 25-yard line.
One of the things that makes Volpe so effective is he's got such a quick start, and he has his eyes. They always say a good running back has eyes, and that's exactly what Volpe has, good eyes.
Ed Berry back into the ball game. 2nd and 4. Chris Skinner could not hang on.
That's what you hope for in zone coverage. You hope to be able to have that guy hear some footsteps, because he knows he's going to be tackled when that ball gets there. People converge on him when he catches the football or when he doesn't catch the football. I think he heard some footsteps.
We're informed that Ed Berry had some problems with his kneecap. He was treated at the bench and is back out there for the Argos. And Lou Pasaglia, the all-time leading scorer, 2,355 points, attempting a field goal from 31 yards out, and he's almost automatic from that range as the BC Lions finally hit the board. 6:07 is the time remaining in this opening quarter. This is the view from across the Cambie Street Bridge to the Dome, with the mountains on the north shore in the background, downtown Vancouver to the left. In excess of 50,000 at the Dome tonight for this battle between the unbeaten Toronto Argonauts, the leaders in the Eastern Division, 4 points ahead of Winnipeg, with the BC Lions attempting to move into a first-place tie in the West with Edmonton and Calgary. The Argos jumping off to that quick start. They're two big guns. First the Rocket and then the Pinball. 13 yards on a touchdown run for the Rocket. 94 yards on a punt return for Pinball Clemens. It's Clemens again on this kickoff. They run the reverse with Carl Braisley. And Braisley is stopped at the 41-yard line. Well, Coach Adam Rita dips into his bag of tricks again. He has shown something a little different in each of the first 3 games this year, and he comes up with another surprise tonight.
I know Adam Rita feels a little bad about a Grey Cup back here in 1983 that he lost to Toronto, and the people in the stands were a little upset with his conservative play calling. This wasn't conservative. I like this. Braisley set it up. He's an old, wily veteran. He was in bad position, but he still made it work.
1st and 10 from the 41. Draw play with Clemens. His advance is limited to about 7 yards. It will be 2nd and 3.
Well, Chris Schultz and Dan Ferroni have done a good job of staying on their people, taking them the way they want to go. And that's murder when you have to tackle Clemens, because the way you want to go sometimes, that's not where Clemens will be.
This offensive line of the Argos is anchored by those two, Schultz and Ferrone. They play the left side. Ian Beckstead the center. Skemp and Prunster on the right side.
What is this, the best line in the CFL?
According to Coach Adam Rita, it is. Ricky Foggy on a quarterback draw slipped, but I think he managed to recover and still got enough. Zoc Allen, the middle linebacker, made the tackle.
That was draw all the way, but Foggy was so anxious to get started, he put the clutch in, and he slipped on the 50-yard line. But what an athlete. He came back, and he's near the first down marker. But I think 2 offensive lines tonight that we're seeing are very solid offensive lines. Beckstead does a super job in the middle, and he anchors down those people. But Ian Sinclair, Larry Clarkson, and Rocco Romano, Leo Gronwag, and Jim Mills, that's a pretty good offensive line, too.
It's the biggest in the CFL, that BC offensive line, averaging about 275 pounds. You see Foggy slipping, but still regaining his balance and picking up a first down just by inches. But it is a Toronto first down. The ball is at the 51.
Bob Skemp's telling him, hey, make up your mind. What's the play?
He throws it over the middle. Andrew Murray on the receiving end. He's a former BC Lion. Zoc Allen was there to make the tackle.
Ricky did a good job at delivering that football. It's hard to throw when you're extended like he was, but he put the ball in there and did a nice job of making a bad play into a nice pickup.
Murray at times is almost the forgotten man in that Toronto offense among that galaxy of stars. And Adam Rita realizes his value to the team. There's the pitch to pinball. Clemens, who gets the first down. O.J. Briggins came over to make the tackle. If you're wondering what O.J. stands for, Orenthal James.
I thought it was orange juice.
That was another guy.
Well, this is an option play on the outside, and unfortunately O.J. had a good position, so he went through Foggy and almost took the head off of Michael Clemens.
He and Zoc Allen in the middle are both newcomers to that BC linebacking corps.
Here's an audible. Foggy called this play at the line of scrimmage.
Three receivers to the left. Foggy's looking that way, throwing for Darrell Smith, incomplete. Ken Petway did a good job defending against the Toronto slotback.
Petway's the veteran in that secondary, and you could see on that play that he wasn't fooled for a minute. Foggy tried to sell him on the short side passing and then came back to throw on it. Darrell Smith is trying to work to the inside. Petway studies his man. It's man-to-man coverage. He looks all the way to his man and comes back to play the football. A little bit underthrown by Foggy.
Well, here's that same formation again, the 20 joker formation, the one that Toronto scored on, but this time the Rocket comes running out of there as a pass receiver, and Ricky Foggy is going to run and get the first down.
You can never underestimate the value of a quarterback that can do that. They've done such a good job of coverage. Here they jammed all the receivers, which is what Obilovich promised to do. They're going to get up and make the receivers work to get some yardage downfield. Unfortunately, what Obilovich is saying is, hey, we got everybody with their back turned to the line of scrimmage, and Foggy takes off running. There's no defense for a running quarterback.
Well, he was asking, I think, don't we have somebody spying on that man?
Well, we asked him that yesterday, and he said no. He said they were just going to squeeze the quarterback.
14 yards the gain. Ricky Foggy getting the first down, giving the ball to Keith Kelly, who finds a big hole down to the 5-yard line. Petway and Major came over to make the tackle, but not before he had galloped for 27 yards. 2:05 remaining in this opening quarter, and the Toronto Argonauts are threatening to turn it into a rout.
Well, Keith Kelly showed something there. He's had some opportunities to get things going, and that's exactly what he did on that play. What he did is he came back away from the flow and caught all of the people coming to the strong side of the field. What a nice run. Good acceleration.
Back to the live action, the fake by Foggy. Now he pitches it out to Darrell Smith. A touchdown. Well, Darrell Smith usually scores as a pass receiver. 20 times last year, he put it in the end zone. He now has 4 touchdowns this year, 3 as a receiver, and that time on the option play.
Nice football play, because Foggy that time didn't let the defense string him out. He made the defense commit before he did pitch it out. Watch Wetmore coming over. No chance, because he played Foggy first.
Lance Chomick with the point after. And 1:32 is the time remaining in this opening quarter. 21-3 is the score. We'll be back with the Toronto kickoff after this. Well, Darrell Smith scoring a touchdown to cap that 69-yard drive on 2 possessions in this quarter. The Argos have scored, putting together good drives. They got another touchdown on a 94-yard punt return by the pinball. You don't usually expect to see a slot back as part of an option play.
What they're doing on defense is being more concerned about where the Rocket is lining up, and then they're trying to work their coverage around that, and it doesn't matter where the Rocket's lining up. because Ricky Foggy has that running ability, and what he did, he worked his slot back Darryl Smith on the pitch man. What a good play.
Lorenzo Graham on the kickoff return. Stopped at the 36-yard line. Bruce Elliott was there to make the tackle. Well, Doug Flutie would like to get something going, and he is certainly capable of doing that. 1,220 yards through his first 3 games. At that pace, he would finish the year with 7,308 yards.
That's not a bad day's work. Not a bad year's work. No, Doug wants to come back and get things settled down. He's got to show that the offense can keep this thing moving against a good Toronto defense.
Good pass. Etheridge for a first down to the 48.
Flutie's working his receivers. He knows that there's a lot of inside-outside man-to-man coverage. They switch off quite a bit in Toronto, and what he did is took advantage of that. Some people might call that a pick. I think it was just a good pass play.
To the live action, John Volpe with a good hole. Another first down for the BC Lions. Carl Bracely came up to make the tackle. You know, Volpe's father phoned the Vancouver Sun early in the year to apply for a subscription. Someone in the sports department happened to get wind of it and asked why. He said, well, my son John has just signed with the BC Lions. So they had the announcement prior to the BC Lions making the announcement.
He leaked it out.
Flutie's pass knocked down at the line of scrimmage by Leonard Johnson. He's a new addition to the Toronto Argonauts defensively. He takes over from the injured Rodney Harding.
Well, Dennis Meyer's going to like this, because watch Leonard Johnson come up and bat the ball down. That's what you call a bat. That's what defensive linemen love to get. They love to reject that football back towards the quarterback.
He was acquired from Ottawa as part of the John Kajemi trade. Flutie looking for Etheridge. He was trying to run before he had possession.
Well, they had the mismatch that they wanted. They had Moan. Donnie Moan was on Etheridge. It would have been a good play.
And that's the end of the opening quarter. We start the second quarter with the BC Lions 3rd and 10 from the 37 of the Argos, trailing by 18 points, and Lou Pasaglia will try his second field goal of the night. This will be a 44-yard effort. It hits the upright but goes through.
Louis works on that in practice. It's a left upright bank through the middle of the goalpost. It's still only worth 3 points, but the fans love it.
He hooked it just a little too much, caught the upright, but fortunately for Lou Pasaglia and the BC Lions, it fell through. Watch this on the replay. A little carom between the posts. Flutie with a little body English trying to help that ball through, and it works.
He almost pulled his shirt off to get that ball through there. We need some points. That's what Obilovich said, too.
Well, the Toronto Argonauts lead 21-6. The BC Lions this year, with a 2-1 record, have scored almost 33 points a game, but their problem, Joe, they've given up almost 33 a game.
Well, you don't want to give up that many points, and some of those games have been one-point victories by the BC Lions.
The Rocket will get a chance to return a kickoff. He got out to the 50-yard line. Lorenzo Graham came over to make the tackle. 38-yard run back for the Rocket, and statistically, this is what happened in the opening quarter. 143 net yards for the Argos. Time of possession, not that big a discrepancy. The big play in that opening quarter, though, was the 94-yard punt return by Mike Pinball Clemens.
What a thing of beauty that was, and what I was impressed with in this last play, the Rocket put his shoulder down and he made some yards. I mean, he ran over some people when they got into a crowd. And when you get into traffic and you put the shoulder down and make some yards, that was for his teammates. That wasn't for his paycheck, it was for his teammates.
Doug Hocking, a rookie from Surrey, is the injured BC Lion.
I can remember Doug as a youngster working out with the BC Lions and then with the Surrey Rams. His mother's president of the Surrey Rams, and if you think anybody is tough, if you think Doug's tough, you should meet his mother. She wants to win, and they usually do.
Well, Doug Hocking is up on his feet, and he'll be back in there, I'm sure. Adam Rita has to be extremely happy with the way his Argos have started this football game, racking up 21 first quarter points.
Ricky Foggy has to be pleased as well.
Foggy is airing it out for the Rocket. Knocked away. Norman Jefferson came across to knock it away.
Foggy was looking all the way for the Rocket. Watch Jefferson turn and come with him. Studies the receiver, stays right on his back pocket, and just as the ball comes over, he makes the play.
Darrell Smith first hit by Wetmore and then Ken Watson. So he was prevented from completing his pattern. 2nd and 10. The ball is at the 49. This one is knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Dietrich Wise got a hand up and batted it down as Foggy attempted to throw.
That's another bat. You know, in university, when those guys get bats, they get a free hamburger at their local restaurant. Sometimes a little sticker for their helmet. Watch his hand come up. This is what you call a bat. They like to knock that ball down almost as much as they like to get sacks.
Now it's the first punt of the ball game by the Toronto Argonauts, Hank Olisic, from the 34-yard line. And it's a short kick that bounces back to the line of scrimmage. Penalty flags are down. Picked up by Jefferson, and he picked that up amidst 3 or 4 Toronto Argonauts drawing another flag. But there was a flag back at the line of scrimmage initially, and we'll sort it out for you when we return. Well, there were 3 penalties on the play, and the ball moves up to the 50-yard line. A face mask call against Toronto, no yards against Toronto, and a holding violation against BC. The net result is the ball is moved 10 yards to the 50.
They did everything but tack on a GST.
13:22 remaining in the first half. 21-6 is the score. The BC Lions trail. They have it 1st and 10. The ball is at the 50.
Toronto is going to try to get in Flutie's face. What Doug Flutie does best is he does that little half roll. He'll sprint out behind the tackle on either side, and their defense likes to overload to the side that he's sprinting, usually the wide side of the field, and hope that they can knock the ball down or at least destroy Flutie's vision. So far, it's been about 50-50. Flutie doesn't like that crowd noise. He wants to get that play called.
He's trying to get the fans into the ball game now.
He wants his center to hear the snap count. I guess that's his concern.
Flutie, the screen to Volpe, but Carl Graisley read that very well.
Graisley was there almost when the ball was there. He certainly did read it. The snap count is so important for a quarterback because that gives him that edge. If it's a 1/10 of a second too late, you're in trouble. You don't get the courtesy you get in golf, you know, where the crowd has to be quiet while somebody makes his shot. But that's what Flutie wants. He wants a little bit of quiet so that when he has the snap count, that he gets it right on time, or else the defense has a jump on him.
Leonard Johnson, the injured Toronto Argonaut. Let's go down to the sidelines and bring in Scott.
Don and live at the half at BC Place tonight. We're going to check what's topical in the CFL as we go coast to coast. Argonaut owner Bruce McNall will join me to tell us what he can about the search for an owner for the Ottawa Roughriders. We'll assess the deals and the giveaways that saw the BC Lions lose 3 good quarterbacks to the Argonauts. And Doug Flutie will share some of his thoughts with us in a conversation prior to the game away from the ballpark. That's all coming up on Live at the Half tonight.
Doug Flutie wanted us to say hello to a lot of his friends back in Natick, Massachusetts, who are watching the game tonight. He had a street named after him following his Heisman Trophy win in 1984.
There's no bigger name in New England than Doug Flutie. He's in every sports bar. They've got pictures of the Hail Mary pass he threw for Boston College. He is a big, big hero in New England.
I've got a question for you. Who caught that Hail Mary pass?
Well, it was Brennan, who plays for the Cleveland Browns, or at least played for them.
Yeah, you're close.
How's that? It
Gerald
was Brennan.
Phelan.
As I said, Brennan was on the other side.
On second down, Flutie's in trouble, but he gets it away to Skinner. Etheridge throws a block. Skinner gets a first down.
There's another Hail Mary pass. I can't believe it. Doug Flutie has that touch. He was being pressured. Nobody saw the receiver, but Doug Flutie saw him. Now he's upset that we can't get the snap count. He got the count too early that time, and he's really upset about it. Watch. I'm sorry, he got the count too late. That's what he's upset about. Nice play. He just dumped it over like a basketball lob shot.
That was a gain of 16 yards. It's 1st and 10. Flutie dumps it off to Clark, and Clark is brought down by Barry after a pickup of 5.
Barry wanted to pay somebody back for when he got his bump, so he gave another bump.
Clark was an interesting acquisition by the BC Lions. After the Lions had been eliminated last year at the end of the season, Coach Bob Obilovich went to the University of Montana to scout Trevathan. He was so impressed by the performance of Clark, he put him on the negotiation list as well. This is Trevathan, and he'll be very close to a first down. They'll spot it just outside the 30. Carl Braisley made the hit.
2 nice-looking wideouts at Montana have turned into 2 good-looking receivers here. Trevathan playing in that slot, has the range, and he's very effective at possession passes. Nice catch.
Well, Obilovich has some special feelings for Montana. That's where he went to school. Lorenzo Graham for another first down. Don Moon making the tackle.
Ian Sinclair did a great job on Hallman over the center to set up that draw play. He just took him to the outside, and you saw a really nice gain by Lorenzo. He just went right up the middle and said, hey, look out, I'm going to the end zone.
Lorenzo Graham is in there in place of John Volpe. Flutie to the end zone, touchdown Alexander.
Knows what he has to do. He's going to get bumped, so he pushes Pleasant underneath the pads, breaks to the inside, gives a little wave to Flutie, and Flutie said, here, take that.
The point after by Lou Pasaglia. And we've got a football game.
And we got some tempers flaring out here on that extra point. Flutie looked the defense off. He's looking to the strong side of the field, turned back, saw Alexander, and delivered the ball right on time. That's the mark of a quarterback, when he answers the score of the other team, and Flutie just did that.
Well, they felt they could get a mismatch. Alexander against Reggie Pleasant. Alexander, 6'4", 203 pounds. Pleasant, 5'9", 175 pounds. They thought it would be a height advantage for Alexander and that they could win that battle.
It wasn't only a height advantage, it looked like it was a strength advantage because he bounced him back about 5 yards before he made his cut.
Clemens on the kickoff return from the 25. Zach Allen made the tackle up at the 45-yard line, limiting the return to 22 yards.
It's nice to watch the strategy on both of the teams. Both special teams are made up of guys who don't normally get in the ball game, and they have a scatter kickoff is what you'd have to call it. They get into a huddle and then they run out of there and kick the ball, and sometimes you don't know who to block because you have a certain man assigned. Can't read it.
Well, now the fans are getting into this ball game, trying to disrupt the call of Ricky Foggy. Draw play with Clemens. Take more than fans to disrupt the running of this man, Mike Clemens.
Well, Flutie's talking to his coaches upstairs, and he's saying, I know we've got the mismatch. I just don't always know when they're in man coverage. I know they're going to be blitzing us when we're down close to the goal line. That's easy pickings. But what are we going to do when we're out in midfield? That's what he's talking to the coaches about now.
Joe Paupow is the quarterback coach, a former player with the BC Lions.
And if Flutie doesn't believe him, Paupow will come down and show him.
Second down, Ricky Foggy keeps and gets the first down in the grasp of Stuart Hill. There was some question as to whether or not Stuart Hill would be able to play in this game. He suffered a back injury lifting weights earlier this week.
They tried to lift up the Surrey Training Center, somebody said, a couple thousand pounds, and it strained his back.
Came into the league in 1984 with the Edmonton Eskimos. Had 18 sacks his rookie season. Clemens again, bouncing off tackles for a first down into the 37 of the Lions. Stopped there by safety Robin Belanger.
Well, you don't want to see Belanger make too many tackles. He's a good, hard, tough football player, but you don't like to see him make very many tackles because that means they're getting through the secondary.
A 14-yard gain for Pinball Clemens. And it will be 1st and 10 Toronto. The ball is at the 37. The safety dropping way back. The pass goes to the sidelines to Trumaine Johnson, and this is another first down Toronto. Chris Major forced him out of bounds.
Nice breakout pattern, but we were talking before the game, is Ricky Foggy's shoulder bad? It didn't look bad on that play. He really delivered the ball with some zip.
Ismail lines up wide left, Trumaine Johnson to the right. When the fans get into it, they could have problems hearing the count.
The Foggy thinks they're cheering for him. He used to play here.
Foggy trying to run it. He's caught by Mayo.
Good coverage, good blitz, good coverage in the secondary. What Foggy was looking for was a little bit of a pick with the outside receiver coming underneath. The pressure got to him before he could get to the receiver. So that was one time jamming the receivers worked because they converged on Ricky Foggy.
Second and 11, Toronto. Foggy for Darrell Smith in the end zone. Touchdown, easy. Petway fell down as he tried to cover Darrell Smith, and with a perfect throw from Ricky Foggy, the Argos have another touchdown.
Well, Foggy had the time. That's the worst thing you can do against Ricky Foggy is to give him that much time to throw when he's got a receiver like Darrell Smith.
Thanks.
Because somebody left their shorts in the end zone, and it wasn't Darrell K. Smith. What a nice play, nice reception.
His second touchdown of the game, his 5th touchdown of the season.
You know, those coaches can throw away the stopwatches when a pass like that is thrown, because what your speed is doesn't matter. Darrell K. put a burst on to catch the ball.
And we'll be back with the Toronto kickoff after this.
Yes, sir. We are for real. St. Hill, what's up? We kicking it. Hey, Rodney, that's another one. Suicide, what's going on? Toronto, we for real, baby. We for real. We're going to bring it home.
Well, I'd have to agree with Darrell K. The Toronto Argonauts are for real, and if Darrell K. maintains this pace, he'll break the record for touchdowns in a season that he equaled last year when he crossed the goal line 20 times.
What Obilovich wanted to do was to get up and jam, because he knows Darrell K. Smith better than anybody. They didn't get along real well in Toronto, and Obi told us yesterday, we're going to jam him. We're going to keep him on the line of scrimmage. But Ricky Foggy had too much time, and you can't keep a receiver out of the end zone like Darrell K. Smith. You can't keep a passer like Foggy from throwing deep.
Etheridge on this kickoff return. Out to the 47-yard line. Ed Berry was there to make the tackle along with Bruce Elliott. That's what Bruce Elliott does. He's number 35. He works hard on those special teams and has earned special team honors from his Argo teammates on several occasions already this year.
Now, he's one of those guys that likes to get in on a lot of hits. But Doug Flutie likes to get in on a lot of hits, too. He's a competitive quarterback, and he wants to bring them back and put them in this game.
2 weeks ago, what a hit he took from Greg Battle in a game against Winnipeg. Bounced back, said he was out for just a second. Flutie trying to set up the screen, and then he throws it away. Don Moan was all over Chris Skinner. There was no way that Flutie was going to be able to complete that screen to Skinner.
If you've ever been lonely, you should be a quarterback sometime when you've called a screenplay and your man is covered and you've got all of those 250-pounders rushing in on you. There's no place to go.
Second and 10. Over the middle to Alexander. Reggie Pleasant is there for the tackle, but not before Alexander made the catch.
Well, I think what you're saying, Don, is that you think it's a mismatch because of the height. And it probably is a mismatch, but it was a bend-in play, a 20-yard gain, and a good job of finding the open seam.
First and 10. Hand off to Lorenzo Graham. He'll get just a couple of yards. The initial contact was made by number 99, Mike Campbell. Leonard Johnson, who was shaken up earlier, also in on the play. Campbell played his college football at Slippery Rock. Ryan Hansen, who's with the Lions, also played there. Where is Slippery Rock?
It's in Pennsylvania. It's probably one of the most easterly schools in Pennsylvania. East of Ohio, that is.
Second and 8. Blitz was coming with Braisley. The pass complete to Alexander, short of the first down. Munford, the safety, and Brian Warren came over to make the tackle.
Flutie's trying to work on Pleasant's mind now. He's beating him deep. Now he wants to throw one in front of him and sort of make him think that he's got to get up there and get tight coverage. Here you see they're trying to blitz. They're working the stud up front, but that's about the only place Flutie can go, and he needs to put that ball in front sometimes so he can set up the deep throws.
28-13 the score, 4:35 remaining in the half, and Lou Pasaglia attempting his third field goal of the game. This a 46-yarder. He got some help from the upright on the last one. This time the upright denies Pasaglia and the BC Lions 3 points. On successive kicks, he hits the upright. One slips through, the other stays out.
Well, it's It's time now for a return to sender CBC trophy update. Yes, it's that $30 GST included bowling trophy the Speed Merchant, who accumulates the most yardage on kickoff and punt returns, gets at season's end. And I guess the trophy's been enough incentive for Saskatchewan's Willis Jaycox to take over the lead from Gizmo Williams in the 4th week of the season. Jaycox took the lead last night in Edmonton, and if you were a betting man now, I guess you'd say the trophy and that CBC pizza shirt would go to Jaycox, the Gizmo, maybe the pinball, who put himself into contention with that 94-yard run back in the first quarter of this game. And Don, you should have seen the pinball's face light up when I told him that he could get a bowling trophy and a CBC shirt if he could take the lead and hold on to it.
Yeah, but the Gizmo already has one of our melon jackets. He wants one of those pizza shirts to go with it. So he is determined to emerge a winner in our return to sender competition. The Rocket beating it outside. Zach Allen from the middle came up to make the tackle.
Well, Zach Allen said, let's have enough of this. We don't want to be that guy come out of there every time. The Rocket, as a running back this time, didn't get off the launch pad due to Zach Allen.
Allen got through so quickly that there was nowhere for the Rocket to go. A loss of 1. It's 2nd and 11. Toronto, they lead. Pass intended for Darryl Smith, being covered by Ken Watson.
I didn't like that. They went to 2 tight ends, and I don't know that they really have to get that fancy with this kind of a lead, 28-13. And I know somebody else that didn't like it. Darryl K. Smith.
Well, that 2 tight end formation with Blaine Schmidt and Jim Kardash coming in caused some problems last week for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in Toronto's 30-16 win.
Some people didn't like what it was called either, bimbo. Some people took offense at that.
Norman Jefferson is the low man back for Hank Olisic's 2nd punt of the ball game. He stands at the 10-yard line. Good kick this time. Jefferson takes it at the 43. Downfield very quickly to make the tackle was Blaine Schmidt. A 5-yard run back after a 44-yard kick.
What I like about Doug Flutie is that he runs onto the field, and that makes the offensive linemen run onto the field. And offensive linemen, they don't like to run onto the field. Jefferson would have liked to have run off the field a little faster, particularly through the end zone. Oh, the youngsters love the Rocket.
2:53 remaining in this first half. Flutie for Christensen, and Christensen fights his way to midfield. Darryl Ford initially tripped up Jay Christensen, and he stumbled up to midfield for a gain of 7. 2:39 remains in the half. Toronto in front by 15. It's 17 minutes before 9 here on the West Coast as we look from outside the dome across to the mountains on the North Shore. A beautiful evening in Vancouver, and this game being seen coast to coast just moments before the game. Murray Pezim, the owner of the BC Lions, decided to lift the local blackout. So thanks to the Pez and the BC Lions, this game is being seen all across the country. Makes a great one-handed catch on that quick toss from Flutie and carries inside the 35-yard line.
Was that Sammy Ball? I mean, this is like the jump pass in the old days. What a nice play. Watch Flutie come back, just throw it right down the seam, one-handed stab, and brings the ball down. I told you those gloves are really sticky. He pulled it in, and what a play.
A gain of 20, and Flutie completes another to Trevathan, this time at the 27-yard line.
Flutie's getting some rhythm now, and he likes to come up to the line of scrimmage, no huddle. Looking for Trevathan inside. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go to the outside. Alexander Unpleasant right down in this position. 2nd
and 2. 20 yards to Trevathan. He comes right back with the University of Montana product for an 8-yard gain. The toss to Lorenzo Graham. Graham is going to have problems getting the first down, but he may have fallen forward close to that 25-yard line before being stopped by Don Moen.
That's what Obilovich wants him to do. When it's 2nd down and 2, 2nd down and 3, he wants him to run the football, get the thing settled down. They're going to go for this on a short yardage situation. They got the Bulls in there now, the big guys do some blocking on short yardage. One of the big guys, of course, is Jamie Terrace, and he's a load. He used to play tight end or slot back.
3rd and less than a yard. Flutie will keep and get the first down inside the 25 with 1:31 remaining in the half.
This is a good position. I know what Obi's telling him now. He says they're going to blitz. Let's look for Alexander on Pleasant. Left corner, let's be ready. The height advantage, remember, Don? You don't like short guys, huh? Unless they're fast.
I think Murray Pesem has invited all of his friends, not only in the lower mainland, but some from south of the border as well, to join him in the private box he has here at BC Place Stadium for tonight's game. Lorenzo Graham was the target. The occupancy code in that private box would be in jeopardy tonight, wouldn't it?
I'd hate to imagine what you have to do just to get in that box. You probably have to buy 4,000 shares of some kind of gold stock or something.
Well, Lopez is out there enjoying the game.
Oh, he's calling the plays. Look at him. He drew something up on his pad. He's trying to figure out how to break this defense here.
2nd and 10, 1:11 remaining in the half. Alexander is the man you go to when you're in trouble.
Flutie's working this thing well. This is a nice drive. Alexander's coming down on Ed Berry. He's got the height advantage again. Sold him to the inside, made a clean break to the outside. Berry tried to do a speed turn. Too late. That ball's delivered. That's a nice pass by Flutie.
Ball just outside the 10. Flutie tried to dump it off. Oh, it was almost intercepted by Darryl Ford. Flutie was trying to dump it off over the middle when he saw he was in big, big trouble to Chris Skinner.
Well, Darryl Ford had a chance. Flutie, Obi's a little upset about the pressure that Flutie had that time. Somebody came off clean, and you can't have that. You can't have a guy. Holman came off and beat Sinclair clean to the outside. Flutie's felt the pressure, let the ball go, and took one in the middle of the back, is what he just said.
Well, if he could survive that hit from Greg Battle a couple of weeks ago in Winnipeg, that wouldn't bother him at all.
Wasn't that a hit? I mean, that was amazing. It was sponsored by the Chiropractic Society or something, because he really got belted.
There's an injured Argonaut in the end zone. Safety Chris Munford is down. And Flutie comes over to the bench to confer with headman Bob Obilovich. What a year Munford is having. 3 interceptions in his first game against the Ottawa Roughriders. He has a total of 4 for the season, leads the CFL in that department. Let's bring in Scott O.
Well, Don, as they work on Chris Munford on the field, we want to take this opportunity to remind our audience of what's coming up on Live at the Half at BC Place tonight. Quarterback Doug Flutie will share some thoughts with us. This in a conversation recorded prior to tonight's game away from BC Place. We'll assess the deals, the giveaways that saw BC lose all their quarterbacks to the Argonauts, and we'll go coast to coast in the CFL to keep you up to date on what's current in Week 4 of this season.
With Chris Munford down, Donovan Wright will likely come in to play safety in his place. Munford is going to be able to walk off to that Argo bench, which is always a good sign, of course.
This has been a good drive on BC's part. They're taking the ball right down the field. They got a substitution for Munford, but BC would dearly like to get into the end zone. And I think you're going to see Alexander on one of those corners working on one of those defensive backs.
Dave Van Bellingham has come in to replace Chris Munford, not Donovan Wright. Next week, we'll be in Ottawa as the Ottawa Roughriders take on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They have a home-and-home series. They play at Winnipeg Stadium tomorrow night, and then they return to Lansdowne Park next Thursday. We'll have that game for you on CBC television. 2nd and 10 from just outside the 10. Jay Christensen, touchdown! deflected. He
Well,
had
if
it,
you don't
lost
catch
it.
it on the first bounce, you catch it on the second bounce. He bounced it off his pads, actually. He came right back and picked it up. That's his first game back, and they've missed him. His second game back, but this is the first game we've seen a lot of Jay, and he's doing a great job.
That's his first touchdown of the year, and a big score it is. Watch this ball bounce off Christensen, and he got it back.
What made the play go so well is Flutie sold them on the front side. He said he was going to come to the strong side with his eyes, and he planted and turned back. Chris Gaines, the middle linebacker, had to go with the flow, and there was a nice seam in there that they got the ball to Christensen.
So this has to give the BC Lions a lift. 53 seconds remaining in the half, and they moved within 8 points.
There's Flutie saying, I told you you could catch that. Look at it. Second catch in one play. Catch it once, catch it twice.
A product of the Okanagan Sun. Jay Christensen scoring his first touchdown of the year. He had a couple of great games towards the end of last season. As a matter of fact, became a 1,000-yard receiver as the result of an outstanding effort against the Edmonton Eskimos late in the year. The Lions squib that ball along the ground. J.P. Escardo doesn't get an opportunity to run it back. Andrew Thomas was downfield very quickly to tackle the rookie from the University of Calgary.
That almost worked. They were trying to squib kick and hope that somebody would mishandle it, and J.P. Escardo, he didn't know what to do. But Flutie knew what to do on that last play. He singed that ball in there, and you got to hand it to Flutie. He put a nice drive together when they were down.
So far in the first half of this football game. It's intercepted by Chris Major, intended for the Rocket.
Did a good job here. You can see the Rocket looked like he was stutter stepping. Well, you didn't get to see a chance there, but the Rocket wasn't coming down full stride. Chris Major played the ball all the way, which is what a defensive back can do. Turnovers are a big thing, and Toronto hasn't given many turnovers. They lead the league in takeaway giveaways.
So with 42 seconds remaining, the Lions get a chance to narrow the gap. Trailing by 8, they give to Lorenzo Graham. A couple of stutter steps carrying him out across the 30. Stopped there by Carl Brazeley.
Well, Leo Groenwagen helped that play. Did a nice job of opening that thing up. Chris Major saying, hey, man, we got the turnover. Now we got to get down and score and tie this game up.
Major leads the Lions in interceptions. That's his third of the year. Lorenzo Graham again. It will be very close to a first down. Initial contact by Brian Warren, and then Mike Campbell finished the job. I talked earlier about that big BC offensive line. Larry Clarkson, 6'8", 305. Rocco Romano, 6'4", 257. Sinclair, 6'4", 260. Groenwagen, 6'5", 270. Jim Mills, 6'9", 280.
Who got all those guys into BC anyway?
Some guy by the name of Galat, I think. Alexander on the sidelines, out of bounds to stop the clock for the first down.
Well, there's that thing. They're working on Pleasant's mind. They're trying to complete some in front of him in hopes that they can complete some behind him. And Pleasant hasn't bitten so far. He's played good discipline zone defense. He'll let him catch them in front of him. We'll see if he lets them catch him behind him.
Just 14 seconds remaining, but certainly time enough for the Lions. They can't put it in the end zone to get within the field goal range of Luton Sagley. Etheridge at the 45 with 6 seconds remaining in the half. Ford and Gaines made the tackle.
Well, Ian Sinclair just threw his helmet off. I don't know what that's about. But it isn't helping his teammates because there's only 6 seconds to go, and he's got to be the center. You've got to be over the ball when you're the center.
Sinclair and Hallman have been having a battle. sideline pattern for Trevathan. And did that run out the final 6 seconds? Yes, it did. They were trying quickly to get a play away, to get it within the field goal range of Passaglia, but they failed, and it ends at the half, 28-20.
That has entertained what is supposed to be the largest CFL crowd of the season. Speaking of crowds, the one in Edmonton went home happy last night. That's one of the stories that's current in the CFL. The first stop on this edition of Coast to Coast is in Edmonton, where Tracy Ham and the Eskimos rolled up 600 yards of offense and rolled Saskatchewan off the field. Ham threw 4 touchdown passes, 2 to David Williams, who came to Edmonton from Ottawa in the offseason, and 2 to Jim Sandusky, who this season returned to the Eskimos from the NFL. The Eskimos won by 30, underlining the talent of their quarterback and their receivers.
Man, they made some great catches tonight, and you can't ask for anything better. I thought the distribution of the ball was guys who were getting the ball thrown to them or catching it, and for a quarterback, you know, that's the ultimate, to have each individual on the team catching the ball like they were catching the ball tonight.
In Hamilton, head coach David Beckman called for his own firing last week after the Ticats were blown out by Saskatchewan. Instead, Beckman got a vote of confidence. Tomorrow night, the Ticats host Calgary. Hamilton has brought in quarterback Stan Gelba. It'll be his second go-round in the CFL. He failed to make it in Saskatchewan a few years back. Gelba was the World League of American Football's MVP this year. He is on the Ticats practice roster. The Ticats may soon have #1 draft pick and Simon Fraser grad Nick Mazzoli. He was recently cut by Seattle of the NFL. In Ottawa, the player acquired in trade for David Williams has failed. Talkative linebacker Jeff Braswell was released outright this week. The 0-3 Riders play in Winnipeg tomorrow night. The Rough Riders are still being run by the league. It had to step in last week when the Riders board of directors resigned en masse because of irreconcilable differences. And now on Live at the Half, I'm joined by the principal owner of the Toronto Argonauts, Bruce McNall, who is here to tell us if he's had any luck in finding some additional American investors interested in the CFL, specifically Ottawa. Is there anything to report?
Well, basically, the interest really coming from Ottawa itself, which is the thing we're looking for the most part right now, and that is there's been a lot of interest from a lot of people in Canada, and specifically Ottawa, and I'm confident that with the 3 or 4 different groups that are really actively seeking it, in a very short time there'll be local ownership, and we won't have to go to the States for it.
Well, when you talk up the Ottawa Rough Riders to your buddies in the States, and I'm sure you have, how do you make them sound attractive? What's the pitch you use?
Well, I think the whole CFL is building right now. It's a way of getting into sports relatively inexpensively, sort of in comparison to the NFL or something. It's a great sport. It's a great thing that I think we're trying to do here in the CFL. Ottawa's the capital city of Canada, and I think there's a lot to offer there.
Just a few seconds left, Bruce. Your thoughts on the Rocket scoring his first CFL touchdown in that half?
Well, I think he's awful excited about it. I'm sure there'll be a lot more to come, but I think he's really thrilled about being able to get that monkey off his back.
Bruce, thanks for your time.
Well, thank you very much.
Stay with us, everybody. When we come back, we'll assess the series of deals that saw the BC Lions once lose all their quarterbacks to the Toronto Argonauts. In any game, you'll often find anywhere from 2 to 6 players on one team that played for the opposition, but it surely is a tad embarrassing for the BC Lions to admit they once had the entire trio of Toronto Argonaut quarterbacks. Ricky Foggy and Willie Gillis were both cut. Matt Dunnigan was traded for half a dozen players, only one of whom remains with the Lions. Vancouver Province columnist Jim Taylor has witnessed some hard-to-figure deals in his years of covering the goings-on with the BC Lions. How do you figure these?
Have you considered stupidity? I mean, that.
Yeah, I guess we have.
The Gillis thing was, well, he'd been cut by 2 other teams. Ricky Foggy was lost because the previous administration didn't know the rules and put him on their practice roster. Matt Dunnigan was traded for 6, got I think it was 5 back, and only 1 guy's left, and he's in the hospital list, so it's a bad thing. But they have a history. They also gave away Tom Wilkinson.
Well, and that was a distinguished quarterback, to say the least.
Absolutely. A couple of Shenleys later.
All right, Jim, thank you for your time. Well, the good news for the Lions is they seem to have recovered from the loss of those 3 quarterbacks. Many of the fans at this game tonight are here because of the man the Lions currently have at quarterback. Just over a year ago, Doug Flutie arrived in the CFL, prepared to take the league by storm. This 6 years after he delivered the famous Hail Mary pass that won Boston College the American National Championship. But for much of his first CFL season, the Lions were mired in controversy. The adjustment was difficult. This season, in a much calmer atmosphere, the adjustment seems complete. After half a dozen years of rejection in American football, Flutie has found a home in Canada. Doug, you're in the midst of your greatest success as a professional quarterback. Are you fulfilling a burning desire to prove yourself at the professional level?
I'm just having fun. I don't know. I really don't have that desire to try to prove people right or wrong. I just want to go out and be successful and enjoy myself and be proud of what I'm doing.
What were your thoughts about the CFL, or did you have any as you were playing ball at Boston College and then went on to pro ball in the States?
I remember coach from Alabama, Perkins, said that Doug Flutie would be a great CFL quarterback. He said that in a quote once, and I took it as a slap in the face at the time. I didn't know what the heck he was talking about, but I didn't know that much about the CFL. I wasn't exposed to it, but you know, you grew up thinking the NFL was it, and that's all there was.
So if someone had told you that one day you'd be a great CFL quarterback playing with the BC Lions, you'd have been dumbfounded.
Basically, I looked at it as an insult, saying I had to go somewhere else to play. But now that I look at the game, it does suit my talents and my abilities, and you know, I would never have anticipated it happening, but I'm very thankful it has happened.
Is the NFL out of your system, or do you still harbor some hope of being able to prove them wrong there someday?
I'm really not searching to go back and prove anything. I really feel comfortable here, and I think I found a home, and I'm not looking to go anywhere else.
They still talk about you a lot in New England. There's a certain movement among the fans there that says, you know, Doug Flutie should never have left here. He should still be playing for the Patriots.
It's really something unusual. There's a great loyalty to Doug Flutie back in the Boston area, and it's really nice to see each week there's articles back in the papers and talk shows, and people address that point. And it's nice to have that kind of support from back there, but I don't see that as an option.
When you came here last year and the Lions were beset with so much turmoil, did you feel as though you were in the middle of a nightmare?
You start second-guessing yourself a little bit. When things are going bad, you're always looking over your shoulder saying, what the heck did I get into? Maybe I should call it quits and retire, forget about this game. But it's seasons such as this, you know, the way things have gone so far this year, you could play forever and you're enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. There were times when I was second-guessing, but I think overall I knew this was the right move for me.
This year's the payoff.
Hopefully it will be. In the long run, we'll see.
Thanks for your time, Doug.
Thank you.
And Doug Flutie, Joe, with 220 passing yards in the first half.
That guy can play football, and there's no question that if he keeps at this pace, this is going to be a whale of a finish.
Well, another fellow who can play football is the Pinball, the outstanding player in the CFL last year, and one of the reasons he won that award, his punt return ability. 94 yards in the first half, his 4th career punt return touchdown.
Well, this might be 94 yards as the field goes, but it's not as Pinball runs. He ran about 150 yards here to the right side, left side, all over the field. I figured that he beat half of that team just on his own ability, and he maybe got half of the team blocked on his teammates.
And just to make sure he got there, the Rocket provided an escort for the final 10 yards. Pinball Clemens with a 94-yard punt return touchdown as the Argos lead 28-20. Well, the sun is setting on English Bay, but our game is far from over.
The CFL on CBC. Brought to you by Sport OV, real life beer. By GMC Truck. And by 7-Up. It's cool to be clear.
When Darryl Rogers took over the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, it looked like an attractive proposition, given the Bombers have the CFL's top running back in Robert Binns. In Ottawa, Steve Goldman headed into the season with high hopes, in part because of Reggie Barnes, the CFL's Rookie of the Year last season. But now both teams are trying to get on track. Winnipeg at Ottawa, Thursday, August 8th on the CFL on CBC.
Well, in the first quarter, it looked as though the Argos might turn this one into a rout, leading by a 21-3 score. But the BC Lions, under the direction of Doug Flutie, fought back, and it's an 8-point football game as we prepare to start the second half. Doug Flutie with 220 passing yards in the first half. He now has 1,440 for the season in 3.5 games. Lorenzo Graham on the kickoff return. And Dave Van Mellingham comes up over the top to make the tackle. There's a lot of offense in that first half, as the 48 points on the scoreboard attest. 16 first downs for BC. For a lot of teams, that's a game. 277 net yards. Time of possession, not much different.
You get the sense that BC had to work for their yards, and Toronto, with that tremendous skill and speed that they have, they made it look easy.
Toronto almost a balance between the rushing and the passing attack, while the BC Lions have definitely preferred to go the aerial route. Dumped off to Chris Skinner. He's got 4 Argos in pursuit, and Ed Berry runs him out of bounds.
Get ready, get ready.
Well, Skinner is seeing the ball more this year than he has in previous years. And this is the way the Argos, or the Lions, have thrown the football in the first half.
Well, they wanted to go to they're rotating their receivers, wanting to go to the wideouts because they have that height advantage that you so mercilessly mentioned.
You just invented a new word.
Well, I think you're picking on us short guys is what I'm saying. But they've been going to the wideouts. They have the advantage there, and it's certainly proven that.
Just short of a first down, Chris Skinner takes it out of bounds. It will be second and less than a yard for the BC Lions. Well, they had advanced ticket sales for this game of 50,000, and I don't think there's a single person under the dome tonight who would be asking for their money back. They have been really entertained through 30 minutes of football. 48 points on the board, and it looks as though these two teams are intent on going after that single game record they established last year, 111 points, when Toronto won 68-43. Flutie keeps on second down and should have a first down.
Flutie likes to go over Leo Groenwagen and Jim Mills. That's a lot of humanity over there, and he lets them do the plowing, and then he just dives over for the first downs. He's done that a lot. He likes to go to his right.
Flutie put the ball in the air 25 times in the first half, completed 19 touchdown throws to Ray Alexander and Jay Christensen.
But he had to work to do some of that completions as well. He took some hard hits, and he's a gamer.
First and 10, the ball is at the 44. He's got Etheridge open. Another first down. Ray Alexander out of bounds.
They got all the receivers to one side of the field except for Alexander. Alexander comes off, makes a good cut to the outside, and Flutie's got the ball right there. They're really isolating the cornerback away from the 3 receiver side.
First and 10, the ball is at the 47. Draw play with John Volpe. Another first down.
Well, these two teams look very similar when they run that draw play. They've got you worried about the pass. When they give that football to Volpe or they give that football to Clemens, these two teams look exactly the same. They blow through there. Chris Gaines had some trouble on the fold block by the right guard, Leo Groenwagen. Good pickup.
Flutie on first down to Skinner. He looks for Skinner when he's in trouble, and Darryl Ford also was looking for Chris Skinner.
I love that action that Flutie has. He looks like he's lobbing a tennis serve, and he gets the ball out there to his dump-off back. What happens on that is that all those linebackers then have to come up and play the short dump-off and if somebody misses a tackle, it could be a big gain. But Darryl Ford doesn't miss very many tackles.
Flutie can drill that ball in there, or he can dump it off softly, as he did just there to Chris Skinner. It was only a 1-yard gain, but it could have been a loss. Flutie has his pass knocked down by Harold Hallman.
What a duel going on between Ian Sinclair. This is frustrating for Sinclair because he actually blocked Hallman on that play, but he blocked him back far enough that he could knock the ball down, and that's the tremendous problem that Flutie has sometimes when he's straight drop back because his height. He is not a very tall person. He's about 5'8", and he has a little problem when those big linemen reach up and knock the ball down.
Bisaglia is 2 for 3 tonight. This will be a 39-yard field goal attempt. It's wide, and Carl Brazeley is going to concede a single point. So the BC Lions are now within a converted touchdown of the Toronto Argonauts. 11:51 remains in the third quarter. The sun is setting outside BC Place Stadium. It will soon be rising on the East Coast and wherever you're looking in this evening. We hope you're enjoying the action between the Toronto Argonauts and the BC Lions. 28-21 is the score. Biggest crowd of the season at BC Place Stadium. As a matter of fact, the biggest crowd in a number of years here on the West Coast. The Lions had consecutive sellouts, or consecutive years they had sellouts in 1985 and 86 against Winnipeg and Edmonton. Tonight's game is not a complete sellout, but advanced ticket sales, as we said, indicated that in excess of 50,000 would be in attendance. Clemens got caught from behind by Derek McCready.
Derek is jumping up and down. It's hard to hold on to Clemens, but what Derek did is he lassoed him at least until the rest of the posse could get there. Derek McCready, good young football player, one of the G-men, drafted 2 years ago, came out of Ohio State University.
Mayo, McCready, Wise, and Stu Hill, the front four for the BC Lions. Beckstead confirming the snap count with quarterback Ricky Foggy, who's in trouble. Stu Hill will come from that rush end position of his 90% of the time, and it paid dividends on that rush.
Stu Hill had the advantage knowing it was going to be a pass. He got blocked by about 3 people and still came in and got Foggy around the neck. So that's great effort on the part of Stu Hill. That's the advantage of knowing that in 2nd down and 14 or whatever, it has to be a pass. The line just tees off, gets a great start, gets good pressure.
Jefferson takes the punt. Here's the reverse with Etheridge.
They answered some of those special teams plays with some tricks of their own. I think that's good football. They had the reverse set up. It certainly surprised Toronto. I think Coach Obilovich will be happy about that. Etheridge isn't too happy because I think he lost a tooth. But Jefferson comes out. That's a little dangerous. It's a pitch out reverse rather than a handoff reverse. But Etheridge finds some daylight, gets some good blocking. He made a nice gain, but Olisic doesn't want to be in on that tackle, but he was. You got to give it to Hank. He was in on the tackle.
Well, I think we saw some evidence of that 4-3 speed that Etheridge possesses on that punt return. 1st and 10. The ball is at the 51 of the Argos. The fake to Volpe. There's the screen to Skinner. Good block from Leo Groenwagen.
This is the middle screen. What Volpe wants to do is come out here and play dead. He comes back and throws the football out to him. What it does gets the flow of the backs. Watch Flutie come out, dump the ball off to Skinner, and he's got the flow going the opposite way. Some good blockers out in front. Good football play.
48 yards the game. First and goal for the BC Lions. The toss to Volpe. Cuts back inside. Chris Gaines from the middle made the stop at the line of scrimmage.
They've got to get this one in just for the psychology of this football game. They've got to get a touchdown out of this. The offensive line did a good job on that. Volpe tried to make the cutback. Chris Gaines did a good job of not overrunning the play, which is what many linebackers do.
It's probably a loss of a yard on the play, 2nd and 4. Both Groenewegen and Rocco Romano made key blocks on that run by Skinner. Here's Bracely in pursuit of Flutie. He fakes. Now he throws into the end zone. Incomplete. Intended for Chris Skinner. Well, Joe Galat, put yourself in a coaching position. If you were Bob Obilovich, would you go for it?
I think they have to go for it at this time, but here's what your problem is. They had all of their receivers out to this side, and he came back, didn't have anybody because of the halfback blitz coming here, Bracely, from the backside. So he had to throw it back across the grain, but Bracely's coming over, 4 receivers to the front side. He's looking for a place to go.
But by jumping, Flutie bought himself an extra fraction of a second because that throws Bracely. Flutie will try and run it in. Now he dumps it off. Touchdown, Christensen.
On about 3 different occasions in this one particular play. On the snap count, he got the defense jumping. Then he came back, avoided a tackler. Then he played volleyball fake with the defender. What a great play by Doug Flutie.
Jay Christensen on the receiving end of the throw, his 2nd touchdown of the season, his 2nd TD of the game, and the point after by Passaglia ties it at 28. With 8:38 remaining in this 3rd quarter. Well, this is the type of excitement that the CFL brags about, and we're certainly getting a major league dose tonight.
Nobody knows what it was. It looked like a quarterback draw was the call, but Flutie avoided 2 people, and then he played keep away like the schoolyard, like back on the playground. He played keep away, dumped it over to Christensen. What a great football play. That is a great play by Flutie and an alert play by Christensen. I don't think it was a pass play.
This is the Rocket on the return. Oh, the ball comes loose. And I think the Argos got it back. J.P. Esquerdo was there to scoop up the ball after the Rocket lost it on the hit.
Well, the Rocket's trying to get his team back into the ball game. He sees an opening and he really accelerates. But as he's trying to make his cut, the ball is knocked loose. Unfortunately, J.P. Esquerdo, who is always in on those special teams plays, was there to recover the ball. We got a football game. Well, somebody socked it to the Rocket on that play.
Norman Jefferson was the player who did sock it to the Rocket, popping that ball loose.
You mean a receiver can hit like that?
Listen to the crowd roar. Intercepted by Briggins. There was also a penalty flag on the play. Now, did that come before the interception by Briggins or after? Let's listen to referee Ken Lazarus.
Holding, 56.
.809 remains in the third quarter. The game here at BC Place Stadium tied at 28.
A moment to go, the called play on the BC Lions third down touchdown play was a quarterback draw. Jay Christensen told me that Doug Flutie got flushed out of the pocket. The man covering him took off in pursuit of Flutie. Flutie read the play so well, he hit a wide open Christensen in the end zone for the touchdown. So, Joe, you were right. It wasn't a called play.
Why practice? Flutie could do that any day.
Fake to Volpe. They jump pass to Skinner, and that will produce a gain of about 5 or maybe 6 yards. Joe, I just saw all 3 BC assistant coaches come down out of the press box to the BC bench. They must be having some communication problem from their spotters boxes to the bench.
Well, if that's true, then you'll see the Toronto people down on the bench as well, because they're not allowed to have phones working on one side and not the other. Maybe Pow Pow wants to get into the game.
Well, Alexander is certainly into the game, and he's got a first down reaching out to the 40-yard line. Adam Rita, who normally wears the headset, has just removed his. So obviously there's a communication problem between the spotters box and the Toronto Argonaut bench as well.
Well, you know, as a head coach, you don't like to wear headsets anyway because it limits who you can talk to. Now, if you're an announcer or a color commentator, you can talk to 100 people. But the coaches on the sidelines like to know special teams, defense, and offense.
Drop play with Volpe. And Volpe is brought down by middle linebacker Chris Gaines. There's Joe Pow Pow. He's the quarterbacking coach. He played for the BC Lions.
Look, he's all sweaty. I know Joe. He used to be my quarterback coach. He wants to get in there. The throwing Samoan wants to get into this ball game. Look at him. He's already sweating. He's in trim shape. Oh, he's just chewing gum. He'd rather be playing.
2nd and 6 BC. Penalty flag. This will go against BC. Even though Jay Christensen makes a fine catch down at the 22, I'm sure this one is going to be brought back by a holding call. Yes, it is.
Well, we've seen this back and forth all day. The offensive, defensive linemen have been having a little bit of a go-round here, and I think this is the reason why. There's a holding call coming up.
Holding. BC number 55. 2nd down, repeat it.
That's Ian Sinclair, guilty of the holding call. He and Harold Hallman have been waging warfare all night long. That time it's Sinclair with Mike Campbell as the Argos defensively were running a stunt.
They ran that little twist stunt and got called for holding because he reached out and grabbed a piece of it.
2nd and 16. Flutie gets to the outside, throws to Etheridge. He can't hang on.
Well, I think there was a reason that he couldn't hang on. And he's just got his arms outstretched, giving a little bit of a show there. Chris Mumford is breathing down his neck here. I think Etheridge knew he was coming, so he tried to tuck into his shell like a turtle, and you can't catch a football when you tuck down like that.
28-28 the score, 5:51 remaining.
The Rockets on the line to rush this punt.
They might try a reverse. Clemens waits for it back at the 5-yard line. Even though he was surrounded, it wasn't easy to bring him down.
That's an amazing guy. You got to put a net around him. There's no way to stop him with one person, and that's what the Lions did. They got 4 people that converged in on him. He made everybody miss, but they all got another hit.
A 43-yard kick, a 4-yard return by Clemens, but don't be surprised if later in this ball game the Argos run the reverse, because they did the same thing against the Hamilton Ticats. They set it up with the Rocket on the line. Clemens the only man back.
He's fast enough to block the punt.
1st and 10 from the 9. Foggy to Darrell Smith. out of bounds up at the 20. That will be a first down, Toronto.
Well, Foggy doesn't worry about where he is on the field. From the 9-yard line, he's willing to throw the football, and that's a mark of a quarterback. You know, a good quarterback doesn't worry about things like that. He just goes out and gets the job done. And a nice block by Prunster to open that passing lane up so Foggy could see where he was going to throw.
Well, Flutie has definitely outperformed Ricky Foggy tonight as far as the aerial attack of the respective teams is concerned. And Foggy, trying to run away from trouble, throws, is intercepted by Major. That's one he should not have thrown.
Well, he was expecting his receiver to go up the field, and he didn't get it. The communication between the receiver and quarterback just wasn't there. Still back to the schoolyard, and they didn't get the communication going like a tremendous play that Flutie had with Christensen on a play that wasn't even called.
It looked as though Foggy was going to be trapped for a loss. He gets away from Mayo, then escapes Wetmore, but that ball is thrown into a crowd and intercepted by Chris Major. First and 10 from the 30-yard line with 4:24 remaining in the third quarter.
BC expects the blitz.
Flutie tried to give a fake to Don Wilson, but the veteran defensive back didn't buy, and Flutie goes out of bounds with a gain of about 7 yards.
Well, we went into this game, and Mayo has to be telling his teammates, hey, Toronto had all those turnovers when we went into this game, but we're getting the turnovers now. Lionel almost had him. Lionel Mayo came from San Diego State. Almost had Foggy tied up. Maybe that's why they threw the interception.
Second and 3. Volpe bouncing off a couple of tackles and should be close enough. He doesn't have a first down to produce a measurement.
Well, Darryl Ford is really stung, and Chris Gaines is stung, and they put a linebacker sandwich on him, but Volpe wasn't having it. He ran right through them. He made him hurt.
First and 10, the ball is at the 20-yard line.
A lot of determination in that last run by Volpe. He wanted that first down, and he got it. Doesn't look like an engineer to me.
He has 2 engineering degrees out of Stanford. Here's a reverse with Etheridge, and Harold Hallman comes through to make a key play.
Well, they wanted to catch the flow, but Harold Hallman wasn't having any of it. And maybe it's the Volpe hands off to Etheridge, but Hallman came right upfield and said, hey, you helped me the last time, but I got you this time.
Harold Hallman, a former Shenley Award winner as Rookie of the Year in the CFL back in 1986 when he was with Calgary. Second and 18. Moving to the sidelines, and Etheridge takes it out of bounds. Short of the first down by about 8 yards. There are penalty flags back at the line of scrimmage.
And there's finger pointing on both directions.
It's a rough play call against Toronto.
Unnecessary roughness, 7-20, first down BC.
Hallman a little aggressive as he and Jim Mills get tangled up, and there you see the reason for the penalty.
Oh, he got 2 of them. Oh, this looks like big-time wrestling. What's going on out there?
Well, it was that final shot at Rocco Romano that resulted in the penalty call.
Dumb call. Dumb play.
Flutie faked as though he was going to run the option with Volpe. Volpe was covered by Don Moon, so Flutie carried himself and got down to the 3-yard line.
Well, the offensive line is having a little trouble with the defensive line. There's been a fight on every play. Chris Gaines does a good job to come over and wrap up Flutie after Bracely held him up.
Gaines down at the field prior to the game and a very concerned look in his face. He was very serious. He said a scrambling quarterback like Flutie causes you all sorts of trouble. Volpe looking for the end zone. He finds it. Well, the guy with the lion's paws in his hands is certainly happy tonight. So is that man, John Volpe, after cracking into the end zone to put the Lions ahead for the first time.
Volpe went underneath the tacklers. Watch him go under. When you get your pads underneath and have the leg drive he had, that's a score.
Point after by Lou Pasaglia. 1:30 remains in the third quarter. We'll be back with the BC kickoff after this.
Deep in the woods.
Well, John Volpe scored the touchdown that was aided by a Toronto Argonaut penalty. Volpe's third touchdown of the season, capping that 30-yard drive following the interception by Chris Major.
That's the first time. I think we've set a record. This could be a national record. It's the first time I've ever heard anybody look at the camera and say hi to his dad. They always say hi to their mom. That's the bowling ball. This guy can get through there. He can go through an arm or a leg. Nobody's going to stop him. He's got those short legs. Very powerful. He can dunk a basketball. He's only 5'7".
He packs 195 pounds onto that 5'7" frame. Kevin Smelly tackled before he picked up the ball almost by Andrew Thomas.
That little short kickoff seems to be working pretty effectively. Hard to handle, and it prevents the good guys deep from getting a return. Not bad strategy.
Backup quarterback Tony Kimbrough trying to get the fans into this football game. Foggy is throwing it deep for the Rocket. He had Robin Belanger defending against him.
Well, you get the feeling that they're forcing things now. They're trying to get it all the way down for a home run instead of doing what they do well. Now, the Rockets got good speed, but people know that he's going to be running, and it's hard to run down the field with one hand up in the air. That's just not the way it should be done. They got to start working on getting first downs.
Receivers wide to the left this time. Foggy being chased by Stu Hill. What a good move on Hill. Oh, and that takes a big hit from Petway as he got up to the 50-yard line.
Well, Foggy ran about 65 yards on that play, but unfortunately he didn't get the 10 that he needed for the first down.
What a good move, though, he put on Stu Hill when it appeared as though Stuart Hill was going to drop him for a loss.
Rocket came back, and I'm not sure that he got the block or somebody got him. It was a tough hit on him, but the Rocket was trying to come back to help his quarterback, Ricky Foggy. But Foggy showed athletic ability in avoiding Stu Hill. There's no question about that, Don.
Trevathan and Jefferson are back for Hank Olisic's third down kick. Trevathan takes it at the 25. Chris Gaines, but not before he got back to the 48-yard line. A 22-yard return for Trevathan. Well, the fans under the dome are certainly enjoying this action tonight. I don't think they thought it was going to be that good an evening in the first quarter when it was 21-3 Toronto.
Things didn't look very good at that time, but the crowd has certainly woken up in this last 3 periods. They've really been doing very well. Gotten into the ball game, and it looks like the team has responded. That's what BC's done. They've gotten into this ball game.
This will be the final play of the third quarter, barring penalty. Flutie going for it all with Etheridge. Incomplete, knocked away by Ed Barry. And that is the end of the third quarter. It will be 2nd and 10 BC to start the fourth. Well, the BC Lions have been in a nail-biter every time out this season. This looks as though it could be another one. They lost their first by 5, won their second by 3 in overtime, won their third start of the year by a single point. They lead by 7. Doug Flutie on second down, throwing to the sidelines for a first down to Alexander. Again, it was Alexander matched up against Reggie Pleasant.
They've done it all night. They've tried to go for that mismatch. Pleasant is playing the defense, believe it or not. His concept there, he's not supposed to get beat deep. He has to come up and make the hits. And he's been doing that. But they have to start doing some man-to-man coverage on that backside.
Draw play with Volpe. Breaks one tackle and should be close to another first down. Reggie Pleasant dropped down. John Volpe, the rookie running back out of Stanford.
Ian Sinclair, you can see 55 is driving number 70 Hallman back over on his back. He's saying, here, take that. Keep the hits above the waist.
Well, one of the newspaper headlines on the West Coast today, a column by Archie McDonald in the Vancouver Sun, referred to John Candy as Uncle Bucks. Uncle Buck was the name of a movie he was involved in, but the dollars he has contributed to the CFL this year are part and parcel of what they hope will be a big turnaround. Chris Skinner on the receiving end of the throw from Flutie, and he was searching all over the field for someone to throw to.
Now this is signature Doug Flutie. He has taken about 15 seconds to execute this play. Nobody can get him. Flutie gives the juke here. He says, Mayo's down. Now he comes back over to the side. Campbell misses. Now he comes back over to this side. Warren will miss. Now he'll come back over, complete a pass. And he said all of that work for only 10 yards. Now I want you to know that Leonard Johnson, he hasn't seen a CFL game before, and he's playing in one. And right now he's down on his hands and knees, wondering, when are they ever going to get me off this field? There have been more turnovers. He's been on the field now for about 15 minutes trying to catch Doug Flutie. That's a day's work for anybody. Joe Paupau's telling Doug Flutie, keep up the good work. Keep buying time. You're getting those linemen wore out. Joe Paupau didn't have that flexibility. He wasn't able to run around. He had to throw precise passes.
Well, that's the big difference between the game played north of the border and the one south of the 49th. It's the scrambling ability of the quarterbacks that can cause tremendous problems for some of those defensive linemen and linebackers. 13 minutes is the time remaining in the game. Well, the Argos, with Leonard Johnson out for 3 plays, have come up with a defensive set that includes 4 linebackers as Bruce Elliott comes in along with Don Moan, Chris Gaines, and Darryl Ford.
If Flutie keeps running like he has been, they may have to go with about 7 linebackers to slow him down. He's having a great game.
Well, Flutie said the Canadian game has allowed him to do more with his abilities, and we have certainly seen that this season. Last year, he didn't hit 1,000 yards until his 8th game. He's over 1,500 yards already this season, and he hasn't completed his 4th. got a second shot at him and brought him down at the 35-yard line.
Well, you can fool me once, but you can't fool me twice. And I think the Toronto defense, most of all, had some rest. And they tried to bring the guard back on Campbell. He beat the block, just came right through untouched. Not fair to your quarterback to let one guy through untouched, but it happens.
Willie Gillis is loosening up his throwing arm at the Toronto bench, an indication perhaps that Adam Rita is about to make a quarterbacking change. Draw play with Volpe. And Chris Gaines made the tackle. Volpe picked up about 12 yards. Not enough for a first down. There's an injured Toronto player. Don Moan is still down.
The Argos have been on the field for a long time, and it's tough when your defense is out there and they're exposed that much. And you see a lot of guys taking one knee and trying to get their wind back because Flutie and Volpe, they're a load. They're hard to make tackles on, hard to capture. Watch Volpe make him miss. And even when you do hit him, he makes about 5 more yards, and he's a football player.
Don Moan started his CFL career with the BC Lions. He went to Toronto in 1982, and what a career he has had. 158 consecutive games.
You know, there aren't many statistics, Don, that attest to what your offensive line does, but it looks like right now the BC offensive line is really taking control of this ball game. Maybe we should make up some statistics and give the guys a trophy. Like how many games you played. Lloyd Fairbanks, I think, is ahead on all that. He's played 4,000 games or something like that. But that's the only statistic an offensive lineman has.
It appeared as though he may have been hit in the face by someone trying to block.
A lot of loose fingers out there. Sometimes you catch a finger in the eye and it does get through that face mask.
So on third down, a 31-yard field goal attempt upcoming off the toe of Luke Bisaglia. And the BC Lions now lead by 10 with 11:38 remaining in the game.
Honey,
I'm in the Lions Den here at BC Place, the private box of Lions owner Murray the Pezum. Great game. This is what the CFL's all about. The blackout lifted. Couldn't be any better, could it?
It couldn't be, really. It's got everything the public wants. Take a look at them. They're all going nuts down there.
And how happy are you you lifted the blackout, Murray? Great promotion.
Of course. I'm the greatest promoter in the world. You know that.
One more question. Do you know everybody in this box? There's about 400 people here.
I think so. I think they name my name. I'm a popular guy. I can't help myself. They're mostly girls anyway.
Yeah, well, I'm checking their accreditation personally. Murray, great seats. How did you scoop up these tickets?
I wonder.
Thanks, Murray.
Mike Clemens tackled by Petway at the 35. I wonder what Murray has written on page 2 of his How to Be Modest book.
Well, I think he is the greatest promoter in the world. I mean, look at all the movies he's made. Oh, wait a minute. That's the wrong guy.
Ricky Foggy remains at quarterback. We saw Willie Gillis warming up at the Toronto bench. It was all Toronto in the first quarter, but the Lions, to their credit, have fought back and enjoy a 10-point lead. Ken Watson got a hand on that throw intended for Andrew Murray at the 50-yard line. And another injured Toronto player, Bob Skent, is the man down.
Boss, the local guy. He's here from BC and used to be with the Lions. And I know he wants to get in that game. He wants to stay in the ball game, but he's had a problem with his wrist. They're warming up. Looks like Schultz might be in the ball game any minute now. Mel Kardash is changing his jersey. He's in that bimbo formation as a tight end, so Kardash has to get quickly changed. Get his number 63 on and pretend he's not a receiver anymore. They didn't even take the old jersey off, just put it over the other.
Kardash wears 73 when he lines up in that two tight end formation. And of course his regular number is 63, and he will now be going into the ball game as an injury replacement. The 3-0 start the Argos got off to this year, 35-18 over Ottawa, 41-18 over Hamilton, 30-16 over Winnipeg, is their best start since 1983 when they won their first 4. And of course that same year went on to win the Grey Cup, 18-17 over BC. The Argos have another road game coming up next week. They're in Regina at Taylor Field to take on the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The Roughriders were hammered last night by the Edmonton Eskimos.
A lot of firepower in the CFL this year. There are a lot of football teams that can put points on the board very quickly. Edmonton certainly is one of them. Bob Skep from the Richmond Raiders, his father coached him in Richmond. He's coming off, but I think he'll be back on. He's swinging that arm around, and you know, they don't hurt big guys for very long.
Tomorrow night, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are at home to Ottawa. Then next Thursday, they move the activity to Lansdowne Park in the nation's capital. And on August the 8th, Thursday, we'll have the Winnipeg at Ottawa game for you. There is no television coverage of tomorrow night's game at Winnipeg Stadium. Foggy to Kelly, a screen pass, and a penalty flag on the play. It could be a face mask call against Kent Petway. When you see the head of the receiver or the running back snap around that quickly, it usually means a face mask violation has taken place, and that's the signal from referee Ken Lazarus.
That was a good call. They caught the defense coming in, hard pass rush through the screen pass.
Face mask, PC number 8, first down Toronto.
Bad decision by Petway to get that penalty. That's about as bad as Hallman's penalty.
The face mask, Petway grabbing Kelly at the end of that play. First and 10 Toronto at the 52. Clemens looking for some blocking help, but fails to materialize, and Dietrich Wise is there to make the tackle.
Well, Sock Allen's been playing on the inside, and he's been doing a good job of not getting blown out of there. He's handling the center. He's doing it. He and Beckstead are having to go around. Sometimes the guards, Kardash came in and tried to pick him up, but Sock Allen's doing pretty well against the run.
Foggy has Clemens open. Clemens slips, tried to roll for additional yardage. Is about a yard short of a first down. 9:52 remaining in the ball game, and Clemens is upset with himself, his failure to stay on his feet after making the catch.
Well, one of the things that happened on that play, Paul Wetmore came in off the short side, which Bilovich alluded to. They think they can get to the quarterbacks of Toronto because they use so many people spread out, and that's exactly what happened. Wetmore gave Foggy a real tough hit.
Well, this is week 4 in the Canadian Football League. Last night, Edmonton defeated Saskatchewan 54-24. Tomorrow night, Ottawa's at Winnipeg, Calgary at Hamilton.
Adam Rita wants to get something going. He's got to get back on the board. He wants to show that this team didn't just go stale after that second half. Maybe not so tricky now. Maybe he's going to settle down and just work on the things that they do well. I think that's what Foggy needs to do. Not too many tricks, just execute.
They keep and should have the first down to the 40-yard line. They trail by 10 with 9:25 remaining. 38-28, the BC Lions in front.
Bob Skemp's back in the lineup. You didn't keep him out for very long. Those teddy bears don't stay out long. They go back in and play.
BC has a statistical advantage tonight. Well, if Darrell Smith was the target, that ball was overthrown by 10 or 15 yards.
Well, two receivers were making their cuts, but neither one of them went in the direction of the football. So you have to think that that hurry-up offense didn't help anybody that time. They thought they could keep the defense from getting set. It looked like Toronto got confused more than anybody on that hurry-up, no-huddle offense the last play.
Second and 10 from the 41. Three receivers to the left. Underthrown is Trumaine Johnson.
Foggy had the receivers open. May not have had the vision that he wanted. It looked like they were getting some pressure out of Stu Hill, but should have been a completion.
It will be 3rd and 10 from the 41, and Lance Chomick will come in to try a 48-yard field goal. Paul Mazzotti will hold. It's good. Lance Chomick, who has missed just one field goal attempt this year, puts it through.
Lance Chomick has done a lot of things this year. He's punted when he had to. He's a real gamer.
So it's a 7-point game with 8:17 remaining. Scott.
Don, a few moments ago, Argo linebacker Donnie Moen got fingers in both eyes. He's put on a pair of protective goggles and gone back into the game, even though he told me just as he stepped onto the field he has about quadruple vision. Says he welcomes the opportunity to go onto the field in that condition because that means there's a whole lot more guys to tackle.
Just tackle the guys in the middle. You can't go wrong. He looks like Batman, doesn't he?
Well, he hasn't lost his sense of humor. The Argos trailing by 7 points with 8:17 remaining here at BC Place Stadium. This ball bounces away from Etheridge. He has to go back to the 3-yard line.
I wonder, Don, if the lack of phones, the lack of headsets in the press boxes had anything to do with the way this game is turned around. It certainly seems, I see Dennis Meyer down on the field, it certainly seems like the defense of Toronto has changed its personality and that BC has been able to come alive.
344 passing yards so far tonight for Doug Flutie. Coach Bob Obilovich was saying that Flutie reminds him a lot of Tom Clements of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. He has a quick mind, is really coachable. He also said that Flutie probably has faster feet than Tom and is a little quicker.
I think he buys more time than Tommy Clements used to do. Tom had a built-in watch in his head, it seemed like. He would never let anybody get a hard hit on him. He'd always throw the ball just before they got there. Flutie, he'll take 20 seconds just scrambling around to try to find somebody open. I think he's got more reckless abandon maybe than Tom Clements.
Ray Etheridge is the injured BC Lion. And once again, let's bring in Scott O.
Don, here's the lineup for Sports Weekend this weekend. On Saturday, we'll have from Milan the final of the World League Volleyball. It's Cuba versus Italy. And from Niagara Falls, Aldo Roy and I will report on the Canadian Weightlifting Championships. Sunday, coming up on Sports Weekend, live from the Butterdome on the campus of University of Alberta, the final of the 1991 World Junior Basketball Championships. There's some great talent there, Don, and you and I will be there to call the action.
Looking forward to the wrap-up to that World Junior Basketball Championship in Edmonton. Some fine young talent. 16 nations participating in that World Junior Championship.
This is a big drive for BC. I think they've got to come down the field and at least get good field position, because Toronto will be in good shape if they hold them here with their punt return ability. BC's got to move out of their own end zone area.
Flutie to Alexander at the 35. That's another first down.
Alexander's challenging, coming right off the line. Pleasant is playing him uptight man-to-man, but he never gave him a bump. Now he comes in and makes the tackle.
With Etheridge out, Matt Clark comes in as a receiver for the Lions. 1st and 10 from the 35. Volpe, the draw play, gets away from Brian Warren, but he can't escape Carl Brazeley.
Brian Warren made a big play just stopping Volpe from his forward momentum. That gave Brazeley a chance to come back to the inside. Now Flutie's got to pull one out. It's 2nd down and 8. He needs to keep this drive alive. Well, he's telling everybody where to go. He's drawing them up in the sand. Drawing the play up on right there in the huddle.
Well, some of his plays have been right off the playground tonight, but they have been successful with them. Don Moan pursuing Flutie. Flutie runs for a first down.
Brian Warren gives him good pressure. Don Moan has him flushed out, but there's nobody to give contain on the other side. Flutie makes the sticks for the first down.
1st and 10. BC at the 50. 6:30 remaining in the game. 38-31. The Lions lead the Argos. Little jump pass intended for Chris Skinner as they tried to run that screen. Groenwagen was out in front of Skinner. It was well over his head. Good fake inside by Flutie to Volpe.
Flutie gave the good fake. He comes back up, and he's getting pressure from Warren. He feels Warren in the ballgame now more than he has during the entire first half and the 3rd quarter. Now he feels it.
An injured ball player, Mike Campbell, is down at the 50.
Well, Mike Campbell may get an Oscar for that. I don't think he got injured during the play. He got injured after he heard the signals. Maybe they called the wrong signal for him, and Obi is really upset. Look at him. Obi used to coach these guys. He knows when somebody's acting.
Well, his complaints will fall on deaf ears. 6:12 is the time left in the game. Well, Mike Campbell caused a delay with 6:12 remaining as the BC Lions were moving up to the line of scrimmage. He dropped to the artificial turf and is very carefully making his way off to the bench. It could have been a cramp as much as anything else, because it is very warm under the dome. It has been a warm, sunny day here on the West Coast. And
I saw Adam Reed point to the ground. That could have been what it was too, maybe.
The amount of time that these players have spent on the field defensively in this 2nd half could be taking its toll now. Mark Napierkowski will come into the game to replace Campbell.
Well, it's been all defense for Toronto in the 2nd half. They've been 2 plays and out. An offensive team does not like to go in for 2 plays and then have to punt, but that's what Toronto has done.
2nd and 10 from just across the 50. Flutie to Volpe. He won't get the first down.
Flutie didn't want to do that, but they had a change up on him. They went to man-to-man coverage. Doug was hoping that he'd get an isolated wide deep out here. He couldn't get anything, so he had to dump the ball off. That's not what Doug wanted to do.
Darryl Ford, who was Defensive Star of the Week for his play last week against Winnipeg in that 30-16 triumph, made the tackle. And the pinball and the rocket are back for this third down punt.
Double trouble. Could be a reverse.
Bisaglia saw pressure coming. Masadi picks it up and takes it out of bounds at the 40. The Argos are complaining that there should have been a no yards call.
I think that's really a tough situation because after only getting a 22-yard punt, they're in good. The Toronto Argos are in good field position, but Bisaglia felt some pressure to his right. And this is what happens when you try to kick the ball away from one of those deep returners, those punt returners. It really bothers the kicker, and if you give him pressure, he can't get off a good kick.
The rocket and the pinball line up to the left side, but the pinball may have been offside. A screen to Kelly, and there was another penalty flag in the backfield, but I think it was the pinball crossing the line of scrimmage trying to time his move with the snap count, and he missed.
Legal procedure. Corner number 14, still first down.
Well, Foggy showed his athletic ability just being able to recoup what became a bad play. Somebody got mixed up on the snap. It was either the quarterback or the receiver.
53,527 the attendance tonight. It's first and 15. Foggy's pass knocked down by McCready at the line of scrimmage.
Derek McCready is one of those fired up kind of guys. He's been playing a good football game. He's been all over the field tonight, and he got himself a bat. He batted that ball down. When the quarterback's guide hand comes off the ball, that's when the defenders reach up and knock that ball down.
Second and 15 from the 35. 4:44 the time remaining. Foggy looking for Trumaine Johnson over his head.
Well, this has been the pattern all night for the Argos, particularly the second half, the deep routes, and the percentage of completions on deep passes isn't all that great. So it's punt time. And BC has got two receivers, punt returners deep.
Jefferson and Trevathan are back for this third down kick by Hangalissa. 38-31 the score. BC in front. Jefferson goes back to the 28-yard line. Gets a couple of blocks, but there are penalty flags. Graisley is decked. Etheridge threw a good block on Graisley, but there are penalty flags back at the point where Jefferson initially fielded the kick. And it's a holding call that will bring the ball back. That eliminates a fine 36-yard return.
Legal block, BC number 8, first down.
Well, penalties have certainly had an influence on how this ball game has gone in the last. There's the clip. You see number 8 just taking JP right over. Penalties have been just atrocious here in the end of the third quarter, beginning here in the fourth quarter. That has had a major influence on field position. It's tough to start out on your own 22-yard line.
Well, number 22 will try and move his team the length of the field. He gives to Volpe. Volpe tried to duck under a couple of tacklers, but Darryl Ford brought him down after a gain of about 3.
Darryl Ford played so well last week, and he certainly picked up where he left off last week. This is a big play, a big series. Toronto wants the ball back. They have to get the ball back. There's not much time to go in this game. As we said, 3 minutes can be a lifetime, but they have to have the ball in order to make it a lifetime.
Mike Campbell back into the ball game defensively. The Argos need the ball here. 3:06 remaining. Flutie right, Trevathan, the intended receiver. Don Wilson managed to knock the ball away from him.
Well, Don Wilson gave the Toronto Argos life. That was a fine football play.
And the Argos will get the ball back when we return. Well, Harold Hallman has had a rough time tonight. This appears to be a cramp, the way they're bending his toe up, but maybe it is a little more serious. Maybe they are now working on the ankle area. Although many times when the trainer goes out and bends that toe forward, it's an indication that the player who is down is having cramping problems.
Well, their electrolytic balance is off, Don, and that means that they've lost a lot of liquid. Muscles have a tendency to cramp up. Why the coaches always want them to eat a lot of fruit before the ball games and you know, drink a lot of liquids. It's very difficult as a defensive lineman. You're always thrusting off that up leg, and that calf muscle can cramp up very easily. Adam Reed is so tired, he's got cramps. Look, he's down on one knee too. This has been a tough ball game. I think Adam's going to have to bring them back with more basic and fundamental strategy to get first downs. Obi, he's just going to eat some ice and pray now because they've had some tough situations, some tough penalties, bad punt, starting from their own 22. They're in a little bit of a defensive position now, so Obi's going to have to call on his defense to help him win this ball game.
Harold Hallman is having a difficult time making his way off to that Toronto bench. Now the Rocket on this punt return is lined up on the line of scrimmage. Don't be surprised if Toronto doesn't attempt what they did successfully against Hamilton, run the reverse. But will it be the Rocket who carries the football if they try a reverse?
Louis had pressure on the last punt and didn't get a good one off. Let's see how they block on this one.
Mike Clemens is the lone man back. Big kick. Well, he made a lot of people miss, but Lorenzo Graham finally brought him down up at the 42-yard line.
They did try to block that kick. The Rocket was up on the line of scrimmage, and with that kind of speed, the Rocket has, there's a possibility he can get in there. If he runs at 4.240, how fast does he run 15 yards back to Louis? But they got a piece of him and got a beautiful kickoff.
51-yard kick by Pasaglia. The Rocket lines up to the left. Raghib rolls to his right. Drills the pass, complete to Murray for a first down at the midfield stripe. 2:28 is the time remaining.
All the receivers to one side. Foggy rolled out and took the time that he needed to get Andrew Murray open. It wasn't a long pass, but it was great for his confidence, for Ricky Foggy's confidence. He got a lot of help here from Pinball. Pinball came over and rolled over top. Then Kelly came over and gave him some help.
At midfield, 1st and 10. The Argos trail by 7. Screen to Kelly.
Well, now they're playing strategy. They're playing good strategy. That's what Adam Reed, I know, told Ricky Foggy going in. Let's do the things we do well. Let's forget about the fancy stuff and trying to trick someone. Let's move the ball down the field.
Well, I recognize the guy in the middle, but who are those other two?
Well, let me see here. That's a really wide receiver and a really great owner.
2 minutes remaining in the game. There seems to be some confusion on the part of the Argos. Darrell Smith comes off to the sidelines. Kelly takes the handoff on 2nd and 3. He'll be close to the first down inside the 45.
That's unusual. You don't usually see the two tight ends with Toronto. When they have short yardage, they've gone to the spread out 6-pack, but their strategies change a little bit. They're a little bit more conservative on this drive in particular.
It's just short of a first down.
That's about a hen's tooth away from the first down.
Again, there appears to be a little confusion for that Argo offense as Darrell Smith went out there and Masadi came off, and then
they're staying with two tights.
Smith went back to the bench and Masadi came on. Third down, Foggy keeps. First down, Toronto. Kardash and Blaine Schmidt in that twin tight end formation. The Bimbo formation, according to the Argo playbook, and that produces a first down to the 43.
Well, Toronto's not fooling around. They're not trying to fool anybody now. They're just trying to get down the field and get a touchdown and get in this ball game.
Over the head of Jermaine Johnson, it will be second and 10. They just haven't been able to get the ball to the Rocket tonight.
They're trying hard, and I think that's part of the problem with their game plan. They had 5 receivers to that side, and they wanted to try to convert to the first down. They're having a little bit of confusion which receivers are going to line up where, and when you have the Rocket lining up at receiver, running back, you don't always know exactly where you're going to have him, so they need to develop first down on this drive.
1:19 remains. Draw play with the quarterback, Ricky Foggy. He loses the football. And I think the Argos got it back. I believe it was Bob Skemp who managed to pounce on the ball after it got away from Ricky Foggy.
I told you Bob Skemp doesn't get hurt for long. He was back out there alertly, saw the ball being stripped out of the hands of Ricky Foggy. This is what defenders do oftentimes. They have the receiver or the ball carrier in front of them. They punch the ball out. But Skemp made a few yards on his own. He did a good job. He's fired up.
It's a first down, Toronto at the 27 with 1:02 remaining. Foggy for Darrell Smith. Incomplete. Petway and Belanger were both covering Darrell Smith, who was looking for his 3rd touchdown of the ball game.
Well, that gave the fans a little bit of a thrill. Ricky Foggy knew what he wanted. He wanted Smith on the post corner, but he was double covered. Belanger came over and alertly helped knock that ball down. One-on-one, I think Smith would have had a touchdown like he had in the first half.
50 seconds remaining. The clock will not start until the ball is snapped. This was designed as another quarterback draw, but Paul Whitmore was having none of it.
I don't think Ricky fooled anybody with the quarterback draw on that particular play. Certainly not Paul Whitmore. Whitmore knew what to expect. When McCready missed, Whitmore came up and wrapped him up, made a nice play.
Paul Whitmore out of Acadia, dropping Ricky Foggy right at the line of scrimmage. As a matter of fact, he may have lost a yard. 47 seconds, the time remaining.
Toronto's going to go for it. They're keeping everybody out on the field. Now the strategy has to be with Adam Rita. What are we going to do here? Are we going to get the first down? We're going to go for the touchdown. Foggy likes to go for touchdowns, but in this situation, I don't think they're going to give him anything deep. They're going to have to really be aware of where that first down marker is to keep this drive going. They like to flood one side with 5 receivers.
Well, 4 weeks in a row, the Lions have been involved in this type of ball game. Darrell Smith.
What a great catch by Darrell Smith. Nice pass by Ricky Foggy. This was a critical play in the ball game, and Foggy dropped back and acted like he was just going to an afternoon tea. He just dumped the ball over the middle. Sometimes you wonder where these quarterbacks get their confidence. We've seen some confident quarterbacks tonight, and there's no better play than what we've just seen right there. Ricky Foggy came up with a big, big play.
So did Darrell Smith going up in front of Ken Petway. It's first and goal from the 3. Foggy will try and run it in. He won't get there. Belanger prevented him from driving into the end zone with 26 seconds remaining. John Candy glances anxiously at the clock, and Foggy is slow in getting to his feet.
They put 5 receivers out to the wide side. What Foggy wanted to do was to run everybody off, get a soft corner. All 5 receivers to one side, get the soft corner, and now Foggy tried to break it out. There was only one man to make the tackle, and Robin Belanger cut him off at the pass.
There was also a penalty flag. Offside BC on the play, so that takes the ball to the 1. It will be first and goal from the 1. "26 seconds, the time remaining. Foggy keeps. Touchdown.
Foggy takes the step, drives through. There's all wedge blocking. All these guys are coming down to the inside. Moving the pile is what they call that. And Foggy takes it over where he finds the hole. Just moved him back. Schmidt made a key play.
And if Lance Traumick can add the point after, we'll be tied at 38 with 24 seconds remaining.
This is a typical BC ball game. That's what they always do. Down to the last seconds. Ricky Foggy's happy. He said, I saw that opening. I knew what was there, and I got the ball up high for Darrell K. Smith. We talked about the height advantage, and that's what Darrell K. Smith had on that last that set up the touchdown, the last play down to the 3-yard line. You like tall guys, don't you, Don? Foggy just got wedge blocking, they call that. Everybody's driving down for the inside. Foggy makes the seam. John Candy likes it, a high five. All right, Uncle Buck.
Susan Wax, Brian Cooper, owner Bruce McNall, all part of the Argonaut management team, celebrating the touchdown and the fact that the game is tied at 38.
That's a great way. We got the fans entertained. We have the owners entertained. What more could anyone ask?
That squib kick. Rocco Romano and Carl Coulter were there to field it, and Carl Coulter returned it to the 48-yard line with 21 seconds remaining.
All Flutie wants to do is to get about 40 yards so that he can get in field goal range of Lou Pasaglia. That squib kick didn't work very well. That ball's on the 47-yard line. They only need about 30 yards, and they're threatening for Lou Pasaglia to kick a field goal.
Lions have already been involved in one overtime game this year. Will they get another? Intercepted by Don Wilson.
Well, I know Christensen's not going to be very happy about that, but that ball was put right on his shoulder. Don Wilson just turned around and had the ball.
Well, with 15 seconds remaining, the Toronto Argonauts can just as quickly turn it around the other way.
Flutie went to his clutch receiver, Christensen. The protection is solid. He got a little bit of disturbance from Stu Hill and from Brian Warren, and then Wilson came up with the interception. Almost looked like a gift. It was a gimme. I'd say the thing that they have to worry about now, with 15 seconds to go, is to make sure it does get into overtime. Don't let anybody have a big play. Don't let anybody have a trick play. And Toronto's noted for their trick plays.
Willie Gillis is in at quarterback. He gives it to Clemens. Petway got a hand on Clemens. The ball came loose, but apparently the whistle had already gone.
This is two determined football teams trying to play right down to the last second. With 8 seconds to go now, there's about 1 yard to go for the first down. I think we'll see Gillis on a quarterback sneak.
Foggy got at the Argos into the 38-38 tie. Willie Gillis will mop up the final seconds. This will be the final play of the ball game. And they are just making sure, giving it to Kelly. And that will end the ball game, and we are heading for overtime. Since overtime was introduced in 1986, this will be the 11th time that extra play has been required to determine the outcome.
Well, you usually see Adam Rita smiling on the sidelines. You see his jaw set in determination. He wants to win this football game because they almost toyed with the BC Lions in the first quarter. Bob Obilovich is saying, hey, we blew it. We had all those penalties and bad field position to let them back in the football game. I'm going to take this ice, break it into 1,000 pieces, and tell that team what I want them to do.
There will be 2 5-minute halves. They kick off to start the second half. The BC Lions won a game on July 19th, 26-23. Over the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They got a winning field goal from Luke Wasagli on the final play of the game. And before we start overtime, let's go down to the sidelines and bring in Scott Oates.
Well, Don, here on the Argo bench as they get ready for OT, the big question for the Argos is, will Ricky Foggy be available to play? Took an awful big hit late in that late touchdown drive, and he's got blurred vision. You may be able to see he's holding an ice pack to his head right now. He's not going to go in until his vision clears. The question is, will it be before overtime is over, or is done? Willie Gillis will start, obviously, in overtime. And one final thought about OT. The Argo defense has spent about 3/4 of this ball game chasing around the fleet-footed Doug Flutie. Had a word with a couple of the Argo defenders. They admit they're exhausted, and I wonder if they have enough left to play 2 5-minute halves. Don?
Well, it's been a tough year, Scott, for quarterbacks in the Canadian Football League. Matt Dunnigan hurt. Ricky Foggy hurt now. Kent Austin out of the Saskatchewan lineup. John Kangemi hurt over in Ottawa.
Well, when a football player is hurt within the boundaries and when he's hit while he's up, there's not much you can do about it. But you certainly want to eliminate football players being hit when they're already down. And that looked like that was the case with Foggy. He was already down, and then 2 more players piled on. Got penalized for it, but Foggy's out of the game.
The Rocket will return the kickoff to start overtime. He tried to stay in bounds, but he ran out of room. Forced out of bounds over on the far side of the field, but good field position for the Argos.
Turnovers have a lot to do with it. When you have 3 turnovers, it's tough to stay in a ball game, and I think the Argos are pleased that it's a tie with those 3 turnovers.
A lot of offense generated by these 2 teams tonight, as they did last year when the Argos won a pair of games, 68-43 and 49-19. And Willie Gillis continues to direct the attack. 1st and 10 from his own 54. The screen to Kelly. He had some problems getting control of the football, and he runs it down to the 36. 1st and 10 at that point, tripped up by Robin Belanger.
Kelly had a little bit of trouble when he tried to hang on to the football, but it might have helped the timing of the play. What it did is it gave the offensive lineman a little more time to get downfield. Watch Kelly bobble it, but the offensive linemen now turn around. They look for people to hit.
Keith Kelly beat out Kevin Smelly at training camp, and the Bishop's product got the #1 job. Dan Ferrone is the injured Toronto Argonaut. So that means that either Blaine Schmidt or Jim Kardash will come into the ball game. The Argos on occasion have rotated their offensive linemen.
Well, that's the value, I guess, of the bimbo. You know, you get Kardash and Schmidt. Schmidt both play in the tight ends. They're still blocking man on man. Kardash has played quite a bit. He's got game experience.
This substitution, though, will be made by necessity, and Perrone will have to stay out for at least 3 plays.
that's an amazing guy, and you wonder why he hasn't carried the ball yet on this drive. Maybe that's why. They just want to come in there and make sure that somebody has to hit the pinball on every play. And this guy has certainly played on every play. He'll make 5 yards look exciting. A 5-yard gain looks exciting when the pinball has the ball.
Well, this is a tired group of Toronto Argonauts. 10:38 the time here on the West Coast, with the 3-hour time change traveling from Toronto to Vancouver yesterday. It does have an effect. Would you not agree?
Well, I would say that most of these youngsters are in bed, sleeping and resting by now. Most of them, I said. Maybe the offensive line is out together, you know, having a brew or two, but I think the majority of them are probably should be sleeping by now.
Jet lag always has an effect when teams travel to the West Coast. Here's the reverse with Daryl Smith. That one was designed a little differently as Daryl Smith cut inside instead of going wide.
Daryl Smith, if you ever saw him just in workout gear, shorts and a shirt, this guy is put together. I mean, he is built like Conan the Barbarian. And watch the way he makes that move back inside. People glance off of him. You don't usually see a receiver that can run with the authority that Daryl Smith does.
It's 1st and 10 from the 21. Willie Gillis directing the attack in place of the injured Ricky Foggy. He gives to the pinball. Wetmore and McCready came over to make the tackle.
Well, we drafted Wetmore and McCready in the same year, and we like both of them as defensive ball players, so they're coming into their own. It's a cutback all the way. Good disciplined defense by Wetmore. McCready slowed him down. Wetmore finished him off. Mayo came in and helped.
2nd and 7. 2:50 remaining in this first overtime half. Intended for Murray, and Pinkley recovered to knock it away.
Well, they ran the smash pattern. Andrew Murray had a chance, but the ball was thrown a little bit late. Petway recovered. He had some time to recover. Had the ball been thrown a little bit sooner, I felt like Murray would have been able to make the break.
A 25-yard field goal attempt for Lance Chomick. The ball directly in front of the uprights, and Mazzotti is going to take a time count violation because he realizes the Argos are 1 man short.
Well, that's not going to make Adam Rita very happy. You don't want your special teams to be 1 man short.
Violation.
Whenever, what happens, like Ferroni was hurt, right? So what the special teams coach does is he scratches Ferroni and he puts probably Schmidt or Kardash in his place. Now somebody got mixed up, and I see down on the bench, Ferroni's trying to explain to somebody, hey, you guys knew I was hurt.
So it will be a 30-yard field goal attempt by Lance Chomick.
Just gave him a better angle.
So the Argos are back in front by 3 with 2:18 remaining in this first 5-minute overtime period.
Well, the Rockets set that touchdown up with a nice return. Obi knows now they've got a chance to get back in the ball game. You got Foggy beat up a little bit. He's got a nice back on his head. Gillis hasn't had a lot of experience. All the coaches are on the sidelines. I'm sure Obi isn't used to getting that much experience or that much advice from all of his coaches down on the sideline. He usually has about half of them in his press box.
This is only the 2nd time that the Argos have been involved in overtime, and their only previous experience in 1987, the game ended in a 33-33 tie with Saskatchewan. This is the 4th time that BC has been involved in overtime. They lost to Winnipeg in 1989, 24-20. They were involved in a 38-38 tie with Calgary last year. And of course, this year they beat Winnipeg 26-23 on the 19th of July.
On the fumble that may not have been a fumble.
Raymond Etheridge on the kickoff return finds a hole. Goodbye.
But I think what the result of this is, there's a lot of rubber legs out there. The defense for Toronto's been on the field too long. Once Etheridge gets going, the missile is all the way down at the end for the touchdown.
94 yards for Ray Etheridge. He has a sign in the back of his car that reads "Sweet Sensation." And how sweet that was for the BC Lions and owner Murray Pezim. The point after makes it a 45-41 game. BC in front with 2:06 remaining in this first overtime half.
Etheridge just outran everybody, and it looked like Toronto, having played so much defense, just couldn't make that reaction that you need on special teams. You don't see many people coming in and sliding in front of people like you usually do on a kick return. I think Toronto's tired.
Well, it was the rocket the fans on the West Coast paid to see tonight, but it was the missile.
There's Obilovich.
Has delighted the fans here at BC Place.
Hobie and his equipment manager, Cato, are celebrating together. He was looking for no yards, like he was waiting for the people to stay out away from him. That certainly isn't the rule. Watch him look for no yards here. He's letting the ball bounce. Now he tries to do it, but it's too late. Thomas is really alert, picking up the ball.
First and 10, the ball at the 20-yard line with 1:52 remaining in this first overtime half. Sorts of trouble, and he just flipped the ball away. Incomplete. He threw that underhand.
I wonder if that's intentional grounding. I guess you're allowed to throw it underhand if you're getting tackled and your knees are almost touching and you'd like to throw it away.
Well, there was a receiver in the general area. Ray Alexander was there.
Somebody's in the vicinity. This is a tremendous effort coming back on Flutie. Warren sort of keeps his ground, and he knows that Flutie is one of those scramblers, but Hallman makes a big play, and Warren is there to wrap him up.
Second and 10. Ball just outside the 20. Draw play with Volpe. He'll be close enough to a first down. If they don't have it, I think they'll probably gamble.
Volpe makes an excellent cut here. He's got that low center of gravity, but he's got some acceleration. Watch him make the acceleration back upfield through the tacklers. 3 more yards after contact.
Elliott comes into the ball game. Chris Munford comes out on 3rd and less than a yard.
Here we go. Hustle.
Again, all the assistant coaches are at their respective benches. We pointed out early in the 3rd quarter that there is a problem with the communication between the benches and the spotters box. So all the coaches are down on the bench. Third down gamble, the toss to Volpe. He'll turn the corner and get the end zone.
Volpe is an engineer and he knows about angles, and he took that angle right to the flag, right to the goal line, and it just looks like nobody can stop him. Nobody ever gets in front of Volpe. They always get a side glancing blow on him. They never get under him, that's guaranteed, and they never seem to get in front of him.
Lou Pasaglia adds the point after. 42 seconds remaining in this first half of overtime.
John takes the ball on the sweep. Skinner leads the play. Watch how he turns up, gets the shoulders square to the line of scrimmage, and just runs through people.
Well, the Argos, or the Lions, I should say, called a timeout.
Joe Pow liked that. Obi liked it.
And Volpe celebrates as he reaches the end zone by throwing it up into the crowd. 2 touchdowns. Very quickly. Etheridge and then Volpe. The ball squibbed along the ground. J.P. Esquerdo had problems picking it up, and Andrew Thomas was down there quickly again.
When Esquerdo, he wanted to pick the ball up, but he remembered what happened the last play to the Rockets, so he said, I decided to recover this football.
39 seconds remaining in this first half of overtime. We've got another 5-minute half. They could threaten the 111 record points they scored in a game in Toronto a year ago.
A lot of fireworks, anything can happen.
Gillis throwing deep for the Rocket. Knocked away by Jefferson.
Well, Jefferson just turned and started to run, and I think that's what's going to happen to people who have to play against the Rocket. If they continue to just throw to him deep, he's going to have to make some moves, Don. He's going to have to make some ins and some outs and some curls.
The blazing speed alone won't be enough.
Well, that doesn't help if that's all you do. And I know he's got the moves to make those out cuts, and I think that's what they're going to have to come back to.
2nd and 10, the ball at the 41. 3 receivers wide to the left. Darryl Smith was the man that Gillis was trying to get the ball to. Again, Ken Petway was covering.
The most effective way to get Darryl Smith a football is to throw it to him over the inside, and Darryl Smith always likes to work the inside on a receiver. Here, Petway knows what Darryl Smith wants to do. He works the inside. Belanger comes over to make sure that the pass is broken up.
When Bob Obilovich was coaching the Argos, part of the problems that he had in that personality clash between himself and Darryl Smith was that Obi converted Darryl Smith into a slot back.
It certainly looked like he could play slot back in the games we've seen him.
Jefferson on the return to the 44-yard line with just 14 seconds remaining in this first half of overtime.
Well, Adam is talking to Gillis, and I know what he's telling him. Let's get some first downs. Let's move the sticks. Let's work our way down the field, and then we can set up a long bomb, a deep pass.
Asking yourself, how does this game rank on the highest scoring games in the CFL? It's right up there. Chris Skinner, the ball carrier, getting up to the 49-yard line. Toronto at BC, September 1 last year, the record 111 points. Calgary at Hamilton, October 17th, 82, 103 points. Toronto at Hamilton in 1990, on September 29th, 99 points. 96, Montreal at Hamilton in 1956, and 96 points in 1990. Ottawa at Edmonton. This one 93 points so far. Well, Chris Skinner has been used as a pass receiver tonight. He had to go to overtime to get his first carry as a runner. And this will be the final play of the first overtime period. Doug Flutie simply drops to a knee, and they'll kick off for the second 5-minute overtime period. So the BC Lions enjoy an 11-point lead with 5 minutes left. And to start this second half of overtime, the BC Lions will get the football back as the Argos prepare to kick it off. .42-41 is the score. Etheridge again. It's another foot race. They couldn't stay in bounds. Lance Chomick forced him out of bounds.
That's pro football. When you get a guy like Etheridge, he hears all this stuff about the pinball and about the rocket, and he called himself the missile. Well, he wants to show people what he can do. And he does this almost all by himself because he comes laterally all the way across the field. And if it's not for Chomick, right arm, he would have made it. He would have gone all the way for another touchdown. And
Chomick was hurt as he came across to make that play. He is still down at the Argo bench. A 47-yard return by Etheridge. Pitch to Volpe, and I think we'll see the Lions try and keep it on the ground as much as possible in this second overtime half. There's a holding call against the BC Lions. They'll be running the football and using that clock as much as possible in this second overtime half.
Holding, BC number 66, first down repeated.
Jim Mills guilty of the holding call, taking the ball back to the 52-yard line.
Jim Mills has been doing a good job all night on pass protection. But all you have to do is pull a jersey once and you'll get your name on national TV.
Lance Chomick is up. The player that is still being treated at the Toronto bench is Don Wilson, who was hurt on that play where Etheridge returned the kick. There's another holding call, and I think this is going to go against Sinclair as he was holding Campbell.
And Campbell showing his pleasure at the call. He's applauding in Sinclair's face.
It's an incomplete pass, and you see Don Wilson now being assisted off to the Argo bench. It appears to be above his eye.
BC number 55, decline, second down.
It's been a tough football game, Don. There's been a lot of injuries. A lot of penalties, unnecessary penalties.
Second and 20. The ball is at the 51-yard line. 52-41. There's the toss to Volpe. He had a little trouble handling, and Harold Hallman hauls him down for a further loss back to the 50-yard line.
Carl Braisley was coming in on a halfback blitz. They have to stop the running game. They have to cause the punt, start to get back into this football game. So they set the halfback on the line of scrimmage. They brought him in from the outside.
High snap. Saglia hauls it down. Clemens fields it. And he's taken out of bounds at the 36.
That's about the only thing that stops the pinball, I think, in the sidelines, because when he's in bounds, there's always some excitement.
3:18 is the time remaining. A 9-yard run back that time by the pinball, and Willie Gillis remains at the controls of the Toronto attack.
Toronto's had some problems. They've been trying to throw the ball downfield only. I think they got to do some curls. They got to dump it off to the backs if they want to get back into this ball game.
From the shotgun. Gillis to run it. And he's got a first down up to the 52. Stopped there by Zoc Allen. 2:53 remains in the ball game.
Stu Hill's been playing a real fine football game. They run a little cross stunt with his defensive end, but he comes off the block and runs down Gillis all the way 20 yards downfield.
Again, from that shotgun formation. On the sidelines, Trumaine Johnson, the target, knocked down by Norman Jefferson.
Well, they're trying to do some possession passing. Gillis shows a strong arm, but Trumaine waited for the ball to get to him instead of coming back for the ball. When the defender's on you, you have to come back towards the football. You know what the pass route is. He doesn't.
Well, the Lions have given up a lot of points tonight, but on occasion they've made some key defensive plays. Paul Masati very close to a first down. Riggins made the initial contact with Masati. It's close enough for a measurement. 1:57 is the time remaining. Masati was hit in the throat as he made the catch.
You always wonder about the measurement. Do they measure where the knee goes down or where the ball goes down? Sometimes they split the difference and measure at the navel.
It's a first down. Ball is at the 47. First and 10, Toronto. The rocket goes wide to the left. Trumaine Johnson comes to the right. The Argos tonight have had problems getting the ball to their wideouts. Gillis dumping it off to Kevin Smelly. He was hit immediately by Briggins.
Well, that looked like almost an afterthought, but if they can dump the ball off to those backs and not have them have to turn around to get the ball, they would make a lot of yards because everybody on the BC defense is downfield.
And the clock is running. 1:26 remaining. Pass is complete to the Rocket. He had to go down to a knee to make the catch inside the 30-yard line, but it is a first down. First time they've been able to get the ball to the Rockets successfully tonight as we move into the final minute of the football game. Trumaine Johnson has another first down at the 12. Tackled there by Chris Major.
Well, these are the curls that they so lacked in the first part of this overtime and in the fourth quarter. Little possession type offense keeps the ball moving, but it looks like it's going to be a little bit too little, too late.
Well, it's been a wild scoring affair. I don't know whether it's been enough to keep our football fans in Newfoundland with us all the way as it's going on to 25-4 in the morning.
Well, it ain't over yet, folks.
But there could be more scoring before this game is history. Gillis for Darrell Smith, incomplete.
Now there's was a situation where Ken Watson is just about as tall as Daryl Smith, so there wasn't a height advantage, and he played him very well, kept him from taking the outside. Excellent coverage. This is Ken Watson. We brought him in 2 years ago, and he struggled a little bit, but he looks like he's back in the lineup, and he might be there to stay.
4 seconds remaining. The clock doesn't start until the ball is snapped. Gillis on the quarterback draw. He is stopped by Zach Allen at the 7-yard line.
Well, the linebackers converged very well on Gillis. They bought the pass initially, but then they came back up and converged on him. Now it's 3rd down. They're going to need to get something going here.
And they have to get this play away quickly because the clock is running, of course, following that effort by Gillis. Gillis into the end zone, looking for Smith, incomplete. Seconds remaining, and the BC Lions take over as the 3rd down gamble fails, and that will do it for Bob Ovilovich and company. A 3rd straight victory as the Argos move into a tie for 1st place in the West with the Calgary Stampeders, who take on the Hamilton Ticats tomorrow night, and the Edmonton Eskimos. Toronto Argonauts, after winning their first 3, losing their first game of the season.
Gillis got some playing time tonight, and he looked good in spots. But the problem seems to be a little bit more patience on both Gillis and Foggy's part. Great victory for BC, having been toyed with almost in that first quarter, and then to come back and do the same things to the opponents that they did to them. Nice kick return. Coach Ovilovich is really happy now that they came back from such a deficit, 21-3, I think it was at one time.
Well, each team they've faced this year has been unbeaten, of course, in their opening game of the season. Both Calgary and BC were unbeaten. Winnipeg won its first game and then lost to the Lions. Edmonton had 2 victories when they came out to the Dome to face the Lions last week. The Argos with 3 victories coming into the game tonight. And it will go into the books as a 52-41 BC Lion victory as Bob Ovilovich celebrates his team's 3rd straight win. Well, it was certainly a wide-open offensive display tonight under the dome. Adam Rita seeing his team lose its first game. Will now take his Argos home to regroup for another Western swing next week as they travel to Regina on Friday to take on the Rough Riders.
Now, Doug Flutie was a super quarterback tonight. He did everything that he had to do when he had to do it. He brought his team back. He got Murray Pesum to take off his shirt. I don't know if that's good or bad. It looks pretty bad to me. But you got to think that Doug Flutie has really gained that expertise that you have to have in the Canadian Football League. He knows that the field is 65 yards wide, and he's used it really well.
Well, we heard Darrell K. Smith say early in the ball game, after he scored his 2nd touchdown, that the Toronto Argonauts were for real this year. Indeed they are, but let me tell you, folks, so are the BC Lions.
They certainly are, and it's going to be a tough race with the Calgary Stampede, BC Lions, Edmonton Eskimos. There's some firepower in that division.
So with Doug Flutie directing the attack, the BC Lions improved their record to 3-1 and a share of 1st place in the West with a 52-41 win over Toronto.